Sports is presented by Lexus. The new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. It's next level luxury. And by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. With dark clouds out there in the distance, the Astros take the field here at Minute Maid Park for the final 3-game series of the home season. They are 10-6 against Seattle this year. They're 5-2 here at Minute Maid Park against the Mariners. The Yankees and Blue Jays are tied 1-1. They're in the bottom of the third. The Blue Jays are leading in the first of the 2 wild card spots. And the Indians and Tigers are tied 2-2. They're in the bottom of the third inning. Detroit game and a half out of the second wild card spot. And as you can see there, Baltimore is holding down that wild card spot. Baltimore has the day off. And Baltimore will be in Toronto to start a series tomorrow night. Meanwhile, the Mariners are a half game in front of the Astros, and certainly the loser of tonight's game suffers something that neither one wants to think about come tomorrow. Rather dire circumstances from here on out. And realistically speaking, both teams have to be thinking they need to run the table here to have a shot at that second wild card spot. Here's the starting lineup now. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach of the Mariners, on the bench. Norajika Aoki is the left fielder. He leads it off with Seth Smith in right field. Robinson Cano's at second base. Nelson Cruz, who now has hit 41 homers, is the DH. Batting fourth, it's Kyle Seager at third base. Adam Lind at first. Leonis Martin at center field. Mike Zunino, the catcher. Ketel Marte, the shortstop. The pitcher will be Hisashi Iwakuma.
Colin McHugh on the mound for the Astros tonight, having a nice year, 12-10, making his 32nd start. He has been so good against Seattle, 4-0 this year, and a 1.08 ERA over his career in 12 starts, or 12 games overall. He is 9-3 and just dominating this lineup of the M's.
5-game winning streak currently for Colin McHugh, and he, as an Astro, has made 13 starts in the month of September since 2014. His record in those 13 starts is 11-0 with a 3.08 ERA. Aoki takes, and there is strike one. Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire, rings it up. Aoki at 273 has 3 homers, 24 runs batted in. He's hitting .333 this month. It's in the air, and here's the left fielder Tony Kemp moving over a little bit toward the line. 1 out for Colin McHugh. Well, McHugh getting hot at just the tail end of the season here to help the Astros string together some important wins in September, facing the Mariners for the 5th time. And 4 starts, 4 wins for him. He's gotten good run support against the Mariners, and he has done his job with that 1.04 ERA against them this season. Smith at 257 has 16 homers. He's driven in 60 runs. He's had some good games against the Astros this year. He looks at that one, and it's ball 1. The Mariners have lost 8 of their last 10 to the Astros. Smith just 3 for 19 in his career against McHugh. That's upstairs.
What happened with Jason Castro on that one?
Popped out of his mitt. Got that mitt up a little late, huh?
Colin says, come on out. A lot of times Castro has had some cross-ups over the last few years. And I think Colin was saying, wait a minute now, taking a look at our MD Anderson strike zone. That was a strike. Tough to tell, though, as the ball rolls away.
So it was called ball 2. Now 2-0 to Smith. Cross up, perhaps. Curveball works for a strike, and it's 2-1.
How about that for a 2-0?
Yeah, he's really grown in confidence in that pitch during this season, don't you think? It's been a good pitch for him in the past.
Absolutely. He's gotten better here in the nice streak as he's won 5 straight. 7 overall. The Astros have won of his starts.
Now 3-1 on Smith with Cano on deck.
Should say 7 in a row.
.224 for Smith against Houston, but lately he's done some damage. And that's inside for a 1-out walk. Smith is aboard for Cano. McHugh with his 51st walk of the year in his 171st inning. Cano's had another big year. Begins the night at 296. He's gone deep 33 times. He's driven in 92 runs, and he has hit .303 with 2 homers against Colin in his career. He's having a nice road trip, going 6 for 13. Cano rips a line drive into right field. George Springer will go over, but it's off the wall. And here comes Smith digging around second into third. And the throw into second not in time. It's a double for Cano. Runners at second and third and 1 out for Nelson Cruz now.
Well, that looked very different than the recent series in Seattle when Cano was a very cold hitter. As we took a look at the Supermo presented by Mattress Firm. Great Supermo right there, and that's a heck of a swing.
The Mariners, who went 2-1 in their 3 games at Minnesota, now have 31 doubles from Cano. 12th straight year with 30. Here's a guy who went deep twice yesterday, Nelson Cruz, against the Twins to give him 41. Ground ball, the runner comes home. Here's Marwin Gonzalez with the throw over to Tyler White, and it's 1-0 Seattle. Cruz getting his 101st run batted in on the ground out, and Cano advancing to third.
And that throw a little bit on the casual side, and Tyler White eventually had to dig it out of the dirt.
So McHugh trailing now moves along and faces Kyle Seager. Seager with 29 homers, 96 runs batted in, carries a .279 batting average. Seager went 1 for 11 in that series in Minnesota. He's 4 for 29 against McHugh. Curveball dips low, and there's ball 1. The Astros took a 4-1 win over the Angels yesterday. That snapped their 3-game losing streak. Broken bat, it rolls out to Marwin. And he throws over to Tyler White. 1 run scoring on 1 hit with 1 man left. Seattle 1, Houston coming up. Starting lineup for A.J. Hinch brought to you by Southwest Airlines. George Springer has reached base his last 7th plate appearance. Will lead it off and play right field. It's Marwin Gonzalez at third base. Jose Altuve at second. Carlos Correa at short. Evan Gattis is the number 5 hitter at DH. It's Tyler White at first. Tony Kemp in left field. Jason Castro the catcher. Jake Marisnick in center field.
On the mound for Seattle, Hisashi Iwakuma, 35-year-old right-hander out of Japan. Obviously having a good year, 16-12. Last time out, however, that against the Toronto Blue Jays, roughed up to the tune of 5 earnings in 3 1/3 innings. He had pitched well in 3 games prior to that one.
He's facing the Astros for the 4th time this season. He's 1-2 with a 4.24 this season in 3 starts against Houston. In his career, he is 5-6 against the Astros with a 3.87 ERA. George Springer, on a 6-game hitting streak, has been on base in each of his last 7 plate appearances. Check swing foul. There's strike one. Springer begins the night at 258. He has 28 homers, 79 runs batted in. He was at 250 not too long ago. So this surge has really given him a lift in average. 206 is his average against Seattle, including 3 homers. He punches that one to right center field, and Springer gets a good result. That is 8 straight plate appearances. George Springer has reached base.
And that's going to put him right around 260 on the year. That approach right now is working. A little shorter on this tough breaking ball down and away. This was no gimme. Watch George settle the left shoulder down and then stay on it. Hey, if you can handle that pitch, you can handle about anything.
Well, Springer, the table setter, has scored 112 runs, is on. Marwin Gonzalez follows. Marwin, hitting 250, has 13 homers, 48 runs batted in. He has great numbers against Seattle this year and in his career. And he takes strike one. Yulieski Gurriel is getting a rest today. He's been grinding it. Marwin has hit .455 against Iwakuma. He's 10 for 22, including a homer against the Japanese-born right-hander. And in Marwin's career, he's a .304 hitter against the Mariners. Iwakuma misses. It's 1-1. You talked about his start giving up 5 earned runs in 3 1/3 to Toronto for Iwakuma last time out. He's had some good games as well recently. And overall, the 16 wins gives him his best season as a major leaguer.
Again, I mentioned the 3 previous starts to that Toronto nightmare for him. He's pitched very well.
He throws to first. He was a 14-game winner in 2013. He was an all-star that year. And against the Astros, you see the results of those 3 starts. He had a 1-0 win at Seattle over Lance McCullers July 16th, going 7 innings in that one. Ground ball. Here's Cano with the flip, and it's easy for Marte. 4-6-3 double play. Jose Altuve is next. Altuve going for another batting title. Leads the American League at 337. He has a 16-point lead over David Ortiz and Mookie Betts, who are both at 321. He has 24 homers, 94 runs batted in, a .429 career average against Iwakuma. Altuve has hit .400 against the Mariners this season with 3 homers. That one almost hit him, ball 1.
Mentioned Ortiz and Betts. You can also throw in Dustin Pedroia, 3 members of the Boston Red Sox. 321 on down to 319. It shows you what a good hitting club they are.
They really are. Altuve went 5 for 16 in the series against the Angels. It's 2-0 to Jose. Second in the league in hits with 208. Boston has the night off. Altuve fouls it away. It's 2-1. Jose really doesn't know the reason that he's hitting so much better on the road than at home this year. He's hit for more power at home. 15 of his 24 homers have come here at Minute Maid Park. Leading the league with a .377 road batting average. This one fouled away. At home, he's hitting .298. Certainly respectable. 15 homers, 45 runs batted in here at home.
Yeah, I don't know if numbers like that are to be understood. I think we all will continue to try to understand them, but you'll just get these odd variances from one year to the next.
No matter how you slice it, home and road, it's a whale of a year. His best, and there you see the breakdown. Home and road. Fouled away. He said it's a totally different field, though, and he didn't really know who was behind him and by how many points in the batting race, but it's a totally different field than it was in 2014 when the Astros were not in contention and he won the batting title. This year it's about winning. And so he said batting third now, it's more about driving in runs.
Well, that's a good point. And you want me to break it down, give the logic here? Last year, Jose hit .342 at home and .287 on the road.
Ooh, that is confusing. He was jammed on that one, but fought it off to remain alive at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I just think that in this game you'll get some team numbers, some individual numbers that go without explanation. You just kind of accept it.
His OPS against Mariners pitching is 1.113. That is crazy.
That's explainable. That's red hot.
That's out to left center field. A long run here for Martin, and the catch. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left after 1. 1-0 Seattle.
The second. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 recorded devices with MLB.TV Premium, which includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Astros in must-win situation every day from here on out, but playing against Seattle, maybe giving them a little more confidence as they've done well against this team lately. A.J. Hinch saying that they swung the bats well against them. They've pitched well against them. More than anything, though, finished the games against this team. There's been a game or two where they've busted out with a Robinson Cano show, he said, or even Seth Smith we saw recently. But it's like any other team, guys. You got to keep the middle of the order in check. And Colin McHugh's done a really nice job against them as well, matching up against this team with all of these lefties, Brownie.
He has. There's ball 1 to a lefty, Adam Lind. Lind with 20 homers, 57 runs batted in. Starts the night at .234. Only 125 against the Astros this year for Adam. And he laces the fastball by a diving Altuve into right field. That gives Lind a 7-game hitting streak.
So, and I listened to some of the explanation about Colin McHugh and why he has succeeded against Seattle. A lot of it seemed to center around the curveball and his effectiveness with that pitch. But all that Colin and company can do tonight is hope that that string that he's had against Seattle continues.
Leonis Martin follows. The former Ranger has a .241 average, 15 homers, 44 runs batted in. Third baseman Marwin Gonzalez moves in on the grass. Martin a good bunter. That's ball 1. Mike Zunino's on deck. The Mariners are 5th in runs scored in the American League. 7th in total bases. They have some power. They're 4th in homers with 212. That's ripped up the right field line. That hook's foul, though. Their manager, Scott Service, former Astros catcher, was doing his workout, running the stairs today here in the ballpark well before the game. There's Tim Bogar. Talked about Stottlemyre, who's closer to the camera, and then Bogar over by the rail. And Bogey, of course, a great Astros shortstop. Had a lot of fun with him when he was here. Just a terrific guy. And we can look throughout this coaching staff and see even more. Casey Candell, Mike Hampton. It's almost like old home week when the Astros play the Mariners with their coaching staff. 2 balls and a strike.
I thought Tim Bogar in the last couple of years was going to land a major league managing job. It hasn't happened yet, but he will.
He was a slick glove man. Strike makes it 2-2. Years ago, when Bogar got a start in Chicago against the Cubs, we had a day off, Ash. And I just got a ticket and sat behind home plate. And he hit 2 homers that day. He's from Illinois. His family was there about 4 or 5 rows ahead. And oh, were they having a great time celebrating his 2 home runs against the Cubbies. Ground ball through the right side. Here's Lynn going to second and turning for third. George Springer with a glitch in the throw, throws it high and late. And now no play into second on Martin, who advances. Springer couldn't get the ball out of his glove. And then the throw came in late and high, and that allowed Martin to get into second base.
That high throw from the outfield doesn't work. There are times when there's no trail runner to be able to take advantage, but right here clearly you can't let this happen. Even if you have that glitch in the glove, got to have the throw down where a cutoff man can take it. And then it turns out the Astros don't have anybody at second if that throw had gone to the cutoff man, and so it's just an easy sail into the bag.
Altuve was trying to get the ball, which went through the right side, so he couldn't have made it there. Correa was lined up to third. Now the infield lays back with second and third, nobody out. Mike Zunino takes strike 1. 11 homers, 29 runs batted in, a .214 batting average for Zunino, who's 1 for 12 against Houston. And a nice start for the Mariners with 3 hits already. Off the plate for ball 1. Ketel Marte is on deck. Zunino has 31 hits, 17 are extra base hits, 6 doubles and 11 homers. This one goes to right. George Springer near the line. Lynn tagging at third. Here's the catch and the throw to the plate. Is right on target off the mid of Tyler White. Too shallow to send Lynn, and it's out number 1.
And that was a wise non-send by Seattle. You don't play around with this arm very often. And in that scenario, height of throw not crucial. Nobody can move up. Other than if they had sent, and then you can send on the backside.
Manny Act is the third base coach. He managed in the Astros farm system. Now the infield comes in with Ketel Marte, the number 9 hitter, batting. Marte looks, and it's strike 1.
Manny and I managed together one summer in Kissimmee. He had the rookie team, and I had the Florida State League A-ball team.
Good man who has managed in the majors. Oh, 0-2 to Marte. Marte has claimed the shortstop job this season. It's been an up and down year for him. He snapped an 0 for 18 with a 9th inning single 3 days ago at Minnesota. He's 2 for 10 against McHugh. Aoki on deck. One ball, 2 strikes. The Mariners are under 500 against the American League West. 34-35 is their record within the division. It's extremely rare for a team in contention this late in the season to be playing under .500 ball in its division. Curveball's flicked foul. Still a ball and 2 strikes. The Astros will have Thursday off. They'll travel out after the Wednesday afternoon home finale here to Anaheim and finish up with the Angels on the road. Foul ball keeps the count at 1-2 on Ketel Marte. Marte's 22 years old. He was born in the Dominican Republic. And he had 219 at-bats last year for the Mariners. He had a 3 RBI game here on May 6th. Outside, and it's 2-2. Mike Fiers and Felix Hernandez will do the starting tomorrow night at 7:10. Then Wednesday, it's a 1:10 finale. It's Doug Fister versus lefty James Paxton. Fiers watching there. Every game big now for both of these clubs. Now it's a full count to Marte. Blue Jays lead the Yankees 3-1 now in the bottom of the 4th inning. Toronto with 86 wins, 69 losses, looking very good to claim one of those wild card spots. Foul tip. He held it. Castro with the hold for the strikeout. That was a pretty good battle, but Castro is able to retire him on the strikeout by holding.
And a big out recorded by Colin. Now the infield can play back normal. Not sure what was overly deceptive on that pitch that was right through the gut of the plate.
Aoki hit a fly ball to left field leading off the game. McHugh's 11th September win since 2014, second in the American League in that period. David Price is 12-2 in the month of September since 2014. That's strike 1. In 2014, Colin McHugh was the September American League Rookie of the Month. He was 4-0 that year in the final month with a 1.59 ERA. Aoki to left, and again it's Kemp. And out of trouble. Wonderful job by McHugh of stranding runners at second and third and keeping the score 1-0 Mariners.
Nothing, Mariners out in front. And Astros fans, don't you forget that we love showing your comments and reactions from Twitter during the telecast. Be sure to mention @RootSportsSW in your tweet for the best chance to see it on air. And we have tweets flowing in already. We have a good one on Evan Gattis, too. MJ doesn't really like Caveman since he is both a home run hitting machine and an ace catcher. I propose the name of the dude. What do you guys think of the dude?
All right, MJ, we'll take that under advisement.
It's already been taken.
Yeah, not too wild about it. Carlos Correa takes ball 1.
What was his name? The former catcher with the Mets, coached a little bit with the Astros minor league. The dude.
Ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. The dude, huh? I have to think about that.
Yeah, I got to work on it. I should know it.
Correa and Altuve are tied for the RBI lead on the Astros with 94. Carlos has 20 homers. That's called a strike for Iwakuma. That runs the count to 2-1 for Correa. He had the left shoulder injury a few nights ago, trying for a diving catch out in shallow center field, and will not come out of the lineup. This one goes to right center field, going back on a Martin, and that ball is not caught. Correa will hold on with a single. Martin reached down, couldn't hold it, and it's a leadoff hit for Correa. He and Smith were closing in on each other.
I hope to take advantage of plays that could have gone otherwise. That's a very tough play. I'm a bit surprised that Correa didn't wind up at second base on this, however.
He's at first. Now Martin, with the right fielder Smith closing in on him, was unable to hold it. Now it's Gattis. 244, 31 homers, 69 runs batted in for the dude. I'm liking it more now.
You're into it now.
Yeah. Nicknames are tough, aren't they? There's ball 1. A lot of good ones have been taken down through the years.
Can't call him Vinegar Bend.
No. John Bad Dude Stearns.
That's it. Yes.
Well, we ought to call him Bad Dude.
That's right. It was Bad Dude. Sorry.
That would work for him. Except he's not bad. He's a very nice guy. 2-0.
He's bad on some hanging pitches. I know that.
He can do that. 31 homers, the new single season high for Evan. And he has hit 9 home runs in the month of September. Tied for 4th in the American League, believe it or not. Now it's 3-0. Gattis 1 for 7 lifetime against Iwakuma. Lance Berkman had quite a September in 06. He hit the 11 home runs in September of 05. And Richard Hidalgo hit 11 in September of 2000. Gattis takes a 4-pitch walk, and there are 2 men on for Tyler White. Here's what happened yesterday in the 4-1 win, Ash.
We did see some long ball action. Evan hit number 31 on his season, and it was a no-doubt shot. And then number 1 on the career of Tony Campa, and it got out by a good margin to right field. Nice to see him be able to turn and do that. Tyler White, first in a long time since the month of May. But he is earning a lot of playing time right now, and I mean earning.
4-game hitting streak for Tyler White. He's gone 4 for 8 in the last 4 games. Big month of September for Tyler. He lays off, and it's ball 1. White at 223 with 8 homers. He's driven in 28. As you mentioned, he had not gone deep since May. May 27th, he hit 2 homers off the lefty Carlos Rodon with the White Sox at Chicago. He had gone 126 at bats without going deep. But in September, he's a .333 hitter with a .987 OPS. That's on the edge for a strike. Iwakuma has a 1-1 count. Oh, big situation here early for the Astros, who trail 1-0, and Seattle has Not only scored in the first, but threatened in the top of this inning. Kemp is on deck. The Astros have won 7 of their last 11. They are 11-12 in the month of September. Iwakuma falls behind 2-1 on Tyler White. Hisashi, 35 years old, born in Tokyo.
Not sure why this was a ball, other than catcher setting up in. That should never matter, but it does.
Iwakuma pitched for 11 years in the Japan Central League. White swings, and it's 2-2. Scott Services Club with a 4.02 ERA, 5th in the American League. White takes, and that's strike 3 for out number 1. First strikeout for Iwakuma.
Peek now at our Lexus defensive ratings in the outfield for the Seattle Mariners. As we look around, Norichika Aoki in left field now. Used to be a right fielder. You can run on him. Borderline arm. Leonis Martin throws well in center field, and a good center fielder on top of that. Seth Smith is in right field. Not really your right fielder's arm. So you've got a couple of guys you can take that chance on the coin flip.
Saw the number 16 on Martin's cap. He's Cuban born. That's in tribute to the departed Alex Fernandez. Tony Kemp has an RBI opportunity here. 2 on, 1 out. There is strike 1. All the Marlins players are wearing the number 16 tonight for their game. They're at home against the Mets, and they're leading 7-0 after 4. 240 for Kemp, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in. He's hit 280 this month. You saw his first home run as a major leaguer a few moments ago. A no-doubter. Ground ball. There's 1. And a double play for the second straight inning for the Mariners. After 2, it's 1-0 Seattle.
Houston Methodist brings us our league leaders. And we take a look at teams that have been able to make a charge late in the year. 3+ games back with 6 or fewer games remaining. That's exactly where the Astros sit right now. 3 back, 6 games remain with tonight's. Most recently, it was the A's in 2011. They were 4 games back, the Cards, Twins, Giants, and I can't believe the Giants win the pennant in 1951. They came back from 3 games, so it's been done. And we'll assume it'll be done again, right, Bronny?
Well, sure. The odds are, over time, that would be repeated. Yeah, that was a 3-game playoff for the 51 Giants. Giants win the pennant. You've heard that famous call down through the years. Now it's Seth Smith leading it off in the 3rd inning. 1-0 Seattle. Smith drew a walk and came home on the ground out by Cruz. Smith had a 2-home-run game against the Astros 8 days ago in Seattle. Both coming off former Mariner Doug Fister. He'll go Wednesday afternoon here at 1:10. He swings, and there's strike 1 for Colin McHugh. Colby Rasmus's name is not on the Astros lineup card tonight. He is not here. And we'll head for Philadelphia to see a doctor there, a specialist in groin problems and hip problems. Ground ball goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Colby's been unable to play now for several days. So apparently that's the end of his season. But Alex Bregman is close to being available. And in fact, he told me he could play now. 1 and 2. That depends on the trainers and the doctors with the hamstring injury. But A.J. Hinch was very encouraged about Alex's progress with a hamstring before the game tonight. There's a chance he will play again this year. He struck him out. That's number 2 for Colin McHugh.
Yeah, I watched Alex Bregman take infield in the drills today, playing down at 3rd base. Did everything in perfectly normal fashion, so he is close.
He's worked hard to get there.
It's that chopper to the infield where you just dig, instinct takes over, that you would be really concerned about.
Exactly. Cano double to right. He was stranded at 3rd. Jordan Bates says Gaddis is the lumberjack. He just needs a plaid jersey. 1-0 to Cano. Hey, there's another Ashby fan.
It's my kind of fan right there.
Over. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about her, but
she's not a member of your family. We know that.
No.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Not yet.
Might be adopted soon, right?
Paperwork is yet to be filed.
McHugh shooting for win number 13 of the season, really trying to hold the Mariners off at this point, the way this game has started. Astros kind of back on their heels. There's a deep drive to right field. Springer way back for it. That sails over his head and into the bullpen. Robinson Cano, it's his 34th home run, and that's his 7th against the Astros this season. 2-0 Seattle. Cano drives in his 93rd.
Hard to believe in watching Robinson Cano on the season that he went 0 for 12 in 3 games on that recent West Coast trip through Seattle. But he has just started it lit right back up here. And he got a high fastball and pummeled. That's a very direct route, barrel to ball. No looping under.
That's his 11th career home run against the Astros. He's a .341 hitter lifetime against Houston. Nelson Cruz takes a fastball, strike 1. Cruz had a left wrist injury that flared up on him yesterday. Stepped out of the box after a swing. It looked like he might be about ready to come out of the game, and on the next pitch he hit a home run. Fly ball to center field. Marisnik with the catch, 2 outs.
Take a look now at our Ford spray chart. And we take a peek at Kyle Seager, who has really done quite a job on the Astros this year, along with Cano. But the glowing balls there that you see, those are extra base hits, all on this season, and all the different pitches he's hit. He's a good hitter, and he's a big run producer for Seattle.
Well, a lot of those pitches are right in the center section of the plate.
Kind of groove jobs, right? And
Yeah.
away. So is there an inclination to try to check him out inside?
That is the real question. Strike one there to Seager. Didn't see any hits on the inside part of the plate in that grouping at all. Curveball dips, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike with Adam Lind on deck. In the air, and here's a long run. Tony Kemp is back. And in the 3rd inning, Cano hits his 34th home run of the season. It's Seattle 2, Houston nothing.
By 2. It's time to take a look at our Chevy Strobe poll tonight. Make sure to jump on Twitter. Follow us at Root Sports SW so you can vote in tonight's poll. And we're asking you what your favorite fantastic finish to an Astros season was. Was it back in 1980, the 1-game playoff, or 1986 when Mike Scott threw the no-hitter to clinch a spot in the playoffs, or clinch the division, I should say. 2004, winning the last 7 for the wild card, or 2005 when they finished 68-38. That was after the famous Tombstone newspaper article that came out. Wow. 68-38?
Furious finish. And how about the last 7 in 04 for the wild card spot? That's a finish. Jason Castro, the batter now. That's a pressure-packed week at the end of the year. There's strike one to Castro with 11 homers. He has 32 runs batted in with a .213 batting average for Jason. 3 for 10 on this homestand. Came in late in the game yesterday to catch. He fouls that one, and it's 0-2.
Oh, come on. Take this thing seriously.
Looks pretty comfortable. That's a nice spot. Jake Marisnick's on deck. George Springer due up third against Iwakuma.
We haven't done a game from there, have we, Brownie?
Not yet. We still have 2 more chances, though, Ash.
It looks like a great opportunity to me.
1-2. Are you lobbying?
I'm way past lobbying.
Well, you could kick back and get us over there Wednesday.
I'm on my knees.
Castro chased it and struck out. That's number 2 for Iwakuma. And Marisnick will be next to one of the songs from Jurassic Park, as Julia has schooled us in his walk-up music.
Center fielder, number 6, Jake Marisnick.
I hate to admit it, I wouldn't even know that was Jurassic Park.
Don't be sad about that.
Are you on that same?
Yeah, you'd have a lot of company.
Okay.
207, 5 homers, 19 runs batted in. We didn't all rush out to buy the albums from Jurassic Park, did we, Julia?
You didn't have to.
Okay.
You know that song.
Well, not necessarily.
Come on.
We're not the musical
I
expert.
can't believe that.
We're pretty uneducated when it comes to remembering music.
Be a believer, Julia.
No, I swear you've heard that before.
Well, really now, what was classic from that movie? Name
what
one.
was classic?
Yeah, name one single song.
No.
It wasn't exactly
Well, that was
the sound of
theme
music,
song.
right?
I think they won awards for that song.
Oh, sorry. 2-1.
It's not so much the soundtrack as it was that particular theme music.
Now, was that piece you did, we were watching it being produced before the game. Did that already air on the pregame show with Jake Marisnik and George
I don't
Springer?
think so. We're saving that
Oh,
for a
that's
special time.
That's classic. High bouncer, and it's foul right over Seager. So Marisnik will come back with a 2-2 count. You have the real story tonight on the selection of that song, and we'll be presenting that later on. You did some digging to get it.
You're going to have to stick around for that.
Yeah.
Man, I had to do some serious digging, too. You know, these guys are usually great when I interview them about baseball-related things. But when we go a little off the cuff, things can get a little wild, and sometimes the microphone gets taken from me and they take over. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, what is happening in this picture?
There's the voice, although I heard a good one from Julia.
Oh, no, you heard it already?
Yes, yeah.
We were listening
don't give it
in.
away.
We were spying on you.
I was
Yes,
hoping
we
they
were.
edited that part out.
No, we wouldn't let them.
We might have been giving our dinosaur impressions.
You did. Yours was classic.
I was really hoping they would get rid of that part of the tape.
Teoscar was pretty strong.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone needs to stick around.
David Paulino paying a cameo appearance on that. Yeah, we'll check it out
He's a
later.
Smart one.
Popped up. Here's Cano. 2 outs. And now Springer bats again. This is quite a run George is putting together here at the end of the season. He singled in the first inning. Yesterday he was 3 for 3 with a walk. Saturday he was 4 for 5 and he finished with 3 hits. So 157 games for George. He's one of only 3 players to play every game. Alcides Escobar and Jonathan Scope, the other 2. That's strike 1 to George. He scored the most runs by any Astro since Lance Berkman at 114 in 08. 1-1.
Who was Berkman hitting in front of in that lineup? May I guess Bagwell?
In 08, yeah. Fouls that one away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. George for the season came into this game with a .360 on base average. Nothing wrong with that. But he had been telling himself recently until this spurt that he needed to be getting on base more often. He had been in a slump. He certainly turned that around very quickly. It's 2-2. A.J. Hinch said a few days ago in one of the articles that George can sometimes wind up with a longer swing, just trying to hit for more power. Iwakuma gets a strikeout. That's number 3 for him, and after 3 he leads it 2-0.
2-0 Mariners. Yesterday, a really tough day. Today, too, just heavy hearts around the baseball community with the tragic passing of Jose Fernandez of the Miami Marlins, and several players in this Astros clubhouse actually knew Fernandez well, Yuli Gurriel being one of them, his little brother playing with him. But this is the jersey that they hung in the dugout today. It's there now as players walk by it before the game, touching it, paying their respects to it, just honoring number 16 for the Marlins. And even Lance McCullers used to work out with them, guys. I know we told this story yesterday, but they knew each other going way back, training together back then and made plans for the offseason. So just a really tough day. Hard for any of these guys to process it and even play and even get out there and get on the field. It was tough, and so they're all trying to get through it together, Ronnie.
Yes, they are. There's ball one. Gurriel getting a rest. He's been grinding it for many days now and not used to that in Cuban baseball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Adam Lind. Lind singled to right field in the second. And then with the emotional toll for several players, as you say, with the loss of Alex Fernandez, that makes it tough. Altuve is calling for it and has it. 1 out. And tonight we're reading some little snippets of information from the Marlins game. D. Gordon led off. I understand he hit a home run leading off, and he paid tribute to Fernandez. And it's a 7-2 lead right now for Miami over the Mets in the middle of the 5th inning. There you see the score of that. So maybe some emotions are working in Miami's favor there. There's a bunt fouled away by Martin. Strike 1. Well, you know, we've been reading about these players who suffered those fates that no one wanted to suffer. Darryl Kyle included in that, as he died in a hotel room in Chicago when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals. That game was postponed that day. And then some of his former teammates with the Astros flew to St. Louis for the memorial service and came back that night for the Astros game. And I don't believe Craig Biggio or Jeff Bagwell were in the starting lineup, but Jeff wound up with the game-winning pinch hit that night on a very tough night. 1-2. McHugh looking in and asking something of Gary Cederstrom, it would appear.
Yeah, he wanted to know, was that pitch in? How did that pitch miss?
He gets a swing, and that's a strikeout. Castro completing the strikeout, down to Tyler White. Number 3 of the night for McHugh.
Catch the deal of the season with Coca-Cola Double Play Tuesdays. Get a pair of View Deck 2 tickets for tomorrow's Mariners game with just $22. Bring 2 Powerade labels to the Minute Maid Park box office to purchase your tickets.
2 more home games. Mike Zunino hit a fly ball to right. That youngster is literally teething on Astros baseball. Strike 2, Zunino. Nice gesture, though, by the clubs around baseball to have those Fernandez jerseys in their dugouts. And of course, the entire Marlins team wearing the number 16 tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's such a well-liked performer and such a good performer. 1-2.
Yeah, he truly fit in that category of great young talent, and everything on the personal side seems to be the same.
I believe that a similar thing happened with the Astros hanging up Darryl Kyle's jersey when he passed away. Fly ball out to left center field. Marisnick churning for it. Tony Kemp peels off. Marisnick is there for the grab for the 3rd out. Nice running catch. It's 2-0 Seattle in the 4th.
Telecast is presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
2-0 Mariners. Marwin Gonzalez leads it off in the Astros' fourth inning. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the first. Apologies, apparently we have mentioned Alex Fernandez rather than Jose Fernandez. It is Jose, who has, as you know, unfortunately passed away. For the Marlins, there is strike one. They did have a pitcher named Alex Fernandez years ago. A very good one also. Altuve and Correa to follow Gonzalez to the plate here in the fourth. It's 1-1. Iwakuma, with win number 17 of his season a possibility, has thrown more than 190 innings now this year. The Mariners have gotten good mileage out of him. It's his 32nd start. Bunted hard at the first baseman, and here's Adam Lind diving to get out number one.
Well, the need for Adam Lind to dive to the bag would tell you how hard Marwin was going down the line. You start sniffing a hit, and that's when you find out how fast a guy can run. And yes, that extension is the fastest way there.
Lind took care of that out. Now Jose Altuve, who hit a fly ball to center, comes around for the second time. .332 his lifetime average against the Mariners. Carlos Correa is on deck. Third baseman Seager is even with the bag. And it's ball one to Altuve.
Jose Altuve's most hits versus current pitchers right now, and it is Iwakuma that has that honor. There's some other pretty good pitchers on that list, including Felix Hernandez, 11 for 22. Maybe a shot at Jared Weaver. Is he still working for the Angels?
Line shot caught by Cano.
Two good at bats for Jose tonight. Coming right back up the middle. Flying out deep to center field, and then this line drive. That's what you want if you're Jose Altuve, to get right back up the middle as much as possible. But it hasn't paid off tonight.
Cano able to snag it. 2 outs, and it's Carlos Correa. He singled to right center in the second. The ball that was in Martine's glove, and he couldn't hold it. And a near collision with Seth Smith. Correa bunts and fouls it. Strike one. Rush City Kid.
Occasional bunt Smith.
Correa has 21 runs batted in against the Angels. 3 more games to go against them in Anaheim. And so over the weekend he could be tying or actually setting a brand new club record for runs batted in a season against one team. One ball, one strike, and the Astros hope they're still in contention when they go to Anaheim. Mariners are 2.5 out in the wild card race. The Astros are 3 out in the wild card race. Strike two makes it 1 ball, 2 strikes with Evan Gattis on deck. 3-1. The Blue Jays lead the Yankees, top of the 7th inning. That would be a very meaningful win for Toronto if the Blue Jays can get it. Tigers trail 4-3. The Indians in front. They're in the 5th. Correa strikes out, and after 4, Iwakuma has struck out 4, and he leads it 2-0. Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. And by HEB. No store does more than my HEB. That youngster wraps himself in an Astros cocoon and heads down the concourse.
Which way to the beach?
2-0. The Mariners lead the Astros. Ketel Marte leads it off in the 5th inning. He struck out on a 3-2 count in the 2nd after a pretty good battle with Colin McHugh. That's in for strike 1. Another story from that Miami game, and the tribute being paid tonight by D. Gordon to Jose Fernandez as he led off the game for Miami. He took the first pitch as a right-handed batter. He bats left, then he turned around and he crushed his first homer of 2016. Fouled away, and it's 1-2 for Colin with Aoki and Smith due up next. Joe Musgrove gave the Astros 7 strong innings yesterday, giving up 1 run and a 4-1 win over the Angels. It's 2-2. Brad Peacock on Saturday night in 5 innings gave up 1 run, so 2 consecutive starts for Astros pitchers, allowing just 1 run. Doug Fister gave up 2 runs in 5 innings Friday night. In tight for a ball, and now it's 3-2. So the Astros starting pitchers for the last 7 games have an ERA collectively of 2.50. That's a walk and a pause by Marte before he heads for first. Look at Joe Musgrove.
Well, he's been good. Came up with a huge splash and then struggled a bit, but he has worked hard enough to find his way since, and he's putting up good start one after another. Didn't have his best fastball last time out against the Angels, but found a way with the other pitches.
28-year-old Kyle Seager will be a threat later on in this game, and so these left-handed batters are something to watch. You've got Aoki, Smith, Cano, Seager, Lind, Martin, Marte, and they're really a factor on a night like this. Left-handed hitters are hitting .292 against Colin McHugh. Aoki is 0 for 2 with 2 fly balls, and there's a bouncer foul, and it's just something that has to be in the presence of a pitcher who's facing all this left-handed thunder in the Mariners lineup. Ash.
Yeah, along with that, it's a team that offensively will slam a lot of home runs. 4th in the league as they come into play tonight, and they've added 1 to the 212 they came in with. They are a powerful bunch.
Aoki had 6 hits in a 3-game series when the Astros visited the Mariners on their last road trip. Chops this one over the mound. Here's Altuve making the tag, and that's the only out he'll get. Marte sliding into the Altuve tag. 4 unassisted, out number 1. Aoki reaching.
I thought maybe Altuve could just sprint straight to the bag. I'm not sure if the angle was afforded him right there. Maybe not. He is such an alert player. I will defer to him in any decision.
Quick feet to get out of the way and avoid being bowled over by that slide. Yeah, that's a pretty nifty tag while jumping off the ground. Seth Smith walked and scored in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd. Curve low, ball 1 to Smith. Diamondbacks lead 5-4 at Washington. They're in the top of the 6th in a rain delay right now. Arizona had a 5-run 4th. And for a strike. 1-1. So Dusty Baker's club has clinched the NL East, shooting for win number 92. The Cubs, of course, have already clinched the best record in the National League with 99 wins. But Washington is in second place right now, 1 win ahead of the Dodgers. Gene Segura hit his 18th homer. Yasmani Tomas, number 30. It's not going to be a record-setting year in terms of total number of homers, but apparently it might in terms of percentage of homers per at-bats in the majors this season. Ground ball goes foul. 1-2. So it appears, Ash, that the trend is it's tougher and tougher to hit for average, but the percentage of home runs, like 3% of the at-bats across the major leagues, is the highest it's been for a long time. And it appears that the hitters are really trying to concentrate on driving the ball out of the park, not so concerned about strikeouts, and it's tougher and tougher to bunch hits together.
Okay, so to your point, and I wonder that. I'm not sure where the answer lies. Is it because of the need for power, or is it because of the way bullpens are stacked up now with so many really great arms and the strikeout a huge part of that play? Yeah, it's probably a combination there.
Yeah, so as the facts are coming in, we're getting closer to the end of the season. It's interesting to process them. There are 8 strikeouts being averaged per 9 innings per team. And it's just more difficult to have the old 3-run rally without a home run than it used to be. Runs per game actually down over what they were 15 years ago. Bouncer goes foul. In 2000, major league clubs averaged 5.14 runs per game. This year they're averaging 4.48. But the percentage of home runs is up. There are 6 40 home run hitters. Two and two to Smith.
I sure wish baseball could find a way to get hitters to stay in the box. It's a routine that really crushes the game, I think.
Well, he won't be staying after that. That's strike 3. And Smith is caught looking as McHugh gets number 4.
Get a behind-the-scenes look at places like historic Union Station, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and much more with a tour of Minute Maid Park. For more information, visit astros.com/tours or call 713-259-8996 to schedule your tour today.
It's a good one. Robinson Cano is the batter. Cano has a double and a homer. He lunges for that one. There's strike 1 to Cano. This is quite a trio here, the 3-4-5 trio in the Mariners lineup. Cano, Cruz, and Seager. They have a chance to become the first trio of Mariners teammates ever to finish a season with 30 doubles or more, 30 homers or more, and 100 runs batted in or more. And at Minute Maid Park, Robbie's hit .516 with 5 homers, 10 runs batted in. He looks at a ball, 1-1. So Cano, who got his 93rd RBI in the 3rd inning, would need 7 more runs batted in. And Seager would need 1 more homer and 4 more runs batted in for these 3 to be that kind of a trio with 30 homers, 30 doubles, and 100 runs batted in. Pretty good numbers. 2-1. Mariners have won 14 of their last 22. And coming into the season, both these teams were picked by many to be playoff clubs, or at least to be able to make a strong run at it. Here they are battling each other for that in the last week of the season. There you have the at-bats per home run, with Seattle down to 1 for every 25. Playing in a very difficult home run ballpark of Safeco Field. 3-1. That Baltimore park is a home run haven, and they have the home run hitters. Mark Trumbo has 45.
Yeah, I don't imagine he was on many lists to lead the league this year coming out of spring training.
Probably not. Cano draws a walk. Second of the inning, and now it'll be Cruz batting, and that's the third of the night for McHugh.
Yeah, this lineup will challenge you as a pitcher, and all the more impressive that Colin McHugh has put up such great numbers against Seattle.
Really is. Seager's on deck. Cruz with a ground out had an RBI in the first inning, then he hit a fly ball to center. He has had quite a power run. 3 straight years of at least 40 homers. Inside ball 1 to Nelson Cruz, the former Texas Ranger. He hit 40, 44, and now 41, a total of 125 since the start of 2014, the most in baseball. Two balls, no strikes. He came out of the game yesterday after hitting his second home run, so he could get some treatment on the left hand and be able to play tonight. Off the end of the bat, it goes to center field, and Marisnick makes the catch. No runs, no hits, 2 men stranded, middle of the 5th inning, 2-0 Mariners.
Nothing Mariners. And it's time to name that Astro, presented by your local Honda dealer. We give you some clues. We want you to tweet us your best guess. Former first-round pick. He's still active in the minors. And position change. That's all we're giving you.
All right, that's it.
Good luck.
You are being stingy, miserly tonight. Okay, Julia.
That's all you get.
Wow. Okay. You've set the tone on that one. Here's Evan Gattis. He walked in the second inning. Ball 1. By the way, Julia, somebody pointed out that Jurassic Park was made in 1993.
That's correct. I saw it in the theaters, so I'm old enough. Yes.
You really did.
I was a youngin', but my brother wanted to see it.
Okay.
I think it was for his birthday party.
That cleared that up then.
That'll cheer the kids up.
Well, listen to this.
It was scary for little kids.
People still use the Jurassic Park music theme song.
Wedding March.
Wedding March? Didn't know that. Bouncer to second. Cano has it. Flips out Gattis. There's 1 out in the home 5th inning.
That sounds like it's a warning of things to come.
Yeah.
People get really creative in their weddings.
They truly do. Yep.
They must be dinosaur fans.
They must be. Tyler White struck out looking in the second inning. The Astros had a promising start against Iwakuma. They had a single from Correa and a walk to Gaddis, but then White was caught looking and Kemp bounced into a double play. Mariners have turned 2 of those in the first 4 innings plus. That caught the inside corner for Gary Cederstrom, strike 1. Yesterday, as you know, Yulieski Gurriel hit into 4 double plays to tie a major league record in 4 at bats. 1-1. Just 2 singles for Houston so far off Iwakuma. That one almost hit Tyler White. He fouled it. It's 1-2. Pitch kept coming in on him. Selfie time.
It did hit him.
It did hit him, yeah. Sure did.
Yes, it's still a strike. When you swing, when you are called determined to have swung, it is a strike.
Yep. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's got to be an odd feeling at the plate.
It must be. Well, Wednesday with the 1:10 start, there's another opportunity for fans to purchase a voucher and go out on Towles Hill and get their photo taken. Foul back. Our director Paul Bykowski and his wife Darlene were out there. They got their photo taken on Towles Hill, and we understand that Tal Smith is going to be here for the game Wednesday. And right after that final game, well, if the Astros are still alive for the playoffs, they won't start yet, but after their season is over, Towles Hill will be removed along with the flagpole. And there will be a new entertainment area put up. I think it's going to be a restaurant and bar type of area. 2 stories is what we've heard unofficially out in center field. So the fence will come in to about 407 feet, roughly where the warning track is now, and go straight across.
Was Mr. Gorbachev ever told to tear down that hill?
He might have been. Putin wouldn't have done it, would he?
No.
Foul pop goes into the seats.
Show of defiance.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes on Tyler White. Always nice to finish the season strong, especially with Tyler White and the way he started like gangbusters and then went to AAA. Lost about 20 pounds, and he's come back to have a very good month of September. It's a lot easier to go home and have that great feeling about the season after a good September. He rolls this one to first. Here's Adam Lynn tossing to Iwakuma. 2 outs. That was a strange spin on that one.
Come bid a final farewell to Towles Hill and be a part of the Astros history. After the game on Wednesday, fans will have a final opportunity to take a commemorative photo right in front of Towles Hill for only $30. All proceeds benefit the Astros Foundation. For more information, visit astros.com/Towles Hill. And smile if you fall down.
Our director, Paul Bykowski, did not try that when he was out there. Steve Sparks and I were able to sneak out there this afternoon, Ash. That was fun.
Did you get out there?
First time ever.
Cool.
Tony Kemp bounced into a double play in the second.
What was the occasion?
Oh, Sparky wanted to take a photo for his blog.
Oh, nice.
Strike to Kemp. Iwakuma can be tricky. Both these pitchers do not throw their fastball as much as 50% of the time. They have other weapons.
Iwakuma's actually gotten some outs out of pitches that were not anywhere near where he wanted them. That last pitch to Tyler White as he grounded out a slider that just hung up and in, and Tyler got jammed.
Yeah, he sure did. And then the way he hit that inside pitch on the ground to first base, it had a little spin on it. There's Seager. And it's out number 3. So the Astros really unable to do much offensively at all. Through 5, trail 2-0.
Top of the 6th. Celebrate Fan Appreciation Day with the Astros this Wednesday night when they take on the Mariners. 10,000 fans will receive both a 2016 team poster presented by Baytown GMC and a 2017 schedule pin presented by Waste Management. For more info, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. That's actually a day game. We'll see you then.
And then time for you guys to jump on an airplane to Anaheim. Good night out there. They're waiting for Astros runs, trailing 2-0. But while they do, it's like the food is either cold or hot, depending on what the objective is. And we go to the 6th inning. The Mad Hatter in attendance as Kyle Seager leads it off. He's 0 for 2. Sorry to see about the dismissal of the Mad Hatter over at LSU. Les Miles, he was here a couple of years ago. We enjoyed chatting with him.
Seemed like a nice guy.
Very engaging. That's ball 1 to Seager. Kyle is grounded out and flied out to left.
Apparently some folks felt the offense needed to move into the 21st century.
Okay. It's a strike and it's 1-1. Colin McHugh made his Astros debut in Seattle in 2014, April 22nd. He shut out the Mariners for 6 2/3 innings with no walks and 12 strikeouts. 2-1. That has led him to a 9-3 career record against the M's. Seager takes it. 3-1. Left-handed hitters are hitting .292 against McHugh. Right-handed hitters .209 this season. Fouled away by Seager. 3-2. His brother Corey came up big for the Dodgers yesterday with a homer late in the game to tie it. Vin Scully's final home game at Dodger Stadium, and then they won it in the 10th. That day was truly scripted in Hollywood. They got a home run from Charlie Culberson to win it in the 10th. He had not gone deep since 2014. Ground ball, Altuve can't stop it from going through into right center. He's down. He is hurting. Yeah, Unfortunately, looks similar to the injury Correa had a few nights ago.
A lot of times it can be the thumb, it can be the wrist. When you dive, the glove will get stuck, your thumb will get caught. Let's see what happens with Jose and hope there's nothing serious here. But yeah, that wrist could have turned over. Thumb.
Yeah.
Thumb and wrist, either one could be banged up pretty good right there.
It sure did roll over.
Yeah.
He is in some pain. Now Correa against the Angels with the game on the line went out into center field and tried a diving catch on a pop fly, landed hard on his left shoulder. This one still a diving effort, a little bit different injury though. Jeremiah Randall and A.J. Hinch out to check with Altuve. They're looking at the maybe it is the left thumb. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I had actually converted to wrist.
Yeah, it looks
right there.
Looks like forearm or wrist now. The way it rolled over on him.
Yep.
Really seemed to put a lot of pressure on that area.
The way he's moving his hand there, promising, I think. Give me my glove.
Yeah.
Do not take that thing from me. Yeah, let's hope this is good. He is showing some movement, and I think that's a positive.
Well, at this point of the season, after all the dives these players have made, all the slides, they've been hit by pitches, various things have happened throughout the long campaign. It's an accumulation of difficulties, but not enough to get him out. This is his 156th game played. He's missed one.
And he probably drove everybody crazy on the bench in that one.
Yeah. Well, Altuve goes back to his position. Runner at first, Seager, nobody out. Adam Lind, the batter.
That might limit range the way he's carrying the glove.
Yeah, that could hamper things a little bit. It appeared he was buying time until he had to put that hand in the glove again. Now the shift is on for Lind. 1 for 2. And it's strike one. 5 hits now for the Mariners. They scored a first inning run on a ground out by Cruz and got a Cano home run in the third. McHugh, his last 5 starts, has an ERA of 2.57. He gets a swing on a curve, and it's 0-2. And the curve has become more prominent in his recent games. Batting average against his curveball this season is .220. It's a slower pitch, obviously, that is used by a right-hander against a left-handed hitter to get him off the fastball sometimes. He goes to it again and he strikes out Lind. That's number 5.
Last October 3rd, Colin McHugh was involved in a big win for the Astros. That was the second to last game of the season. Colin was able to defeat the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Astros would lose the final game of the year but find their way into postseason play. And Colin McHugh, 19 wins last year. That was number 19, and that curveball was impactful once again.
Uncle Charlie pays a visit. Leonis Martin is 1 for 2. Ball 1 to Martin. Collins throwing his curve about 29% of the time compared to 36% for fastballs, 30% for cut fastballs. The cutter, though, has dropped back in usage by Colin in recent starts. There's a swing for a strike, 1-1.
Colin brings a changeup nowhere close to the strike zone, but it's that bat started early.
Congratulations to Mark Berman from KRIV TV. He was inducted into the Houston Baseball Media Wall of Honor. Ground ball back to McHugh. He throws to Correa high, and then Correa guns it over to White. Double play. 1-6-3. 2-0 Seattle in the 6th.
Go to the bottom of the 6th, and you've heard us talk about it this game, the Jurassic Park walk-up music for Jake Marisnick. Well, I wanted to know how deep this dinosaur thing really gets, so I took my questions straight to Jake Marisnick and George Springer. Take a look.
Why is my music Jurassic Park?
Why isn't it Jurassic Park? That's the question. What kind is this? It's a short-armed velociraptor.
T-Rex.
No, it's a velociraptor. I like velociraptor, so I'm going to go with the velociraptor. I mean, it's clear. Everyone knows it's a T-Rex. We know it's a T-Rex, but I think it's a velociraptor.
I would be a velociraptor. That's my favorite dinosaur. They're fast. They're smart. They work in teams. They make cool noises, like high-pitched.
Make a noise.
No. I even put my arms up, too. I was like,
That sound as a velociraptor makes.
Do you know?
Why is your music Jurassic Park?
We just went over this. I think it was kind of like mine. I said, George, do you think Jurassic Park sounds like a good one? First 2 at bats.
He needed assurance that he should use Jurassic Park because he was on the fence about it. And the question is, if you're going to use Jurassic Park, why wouldn't you use Jurassic Park?
Okay. That was our Jurassic Park interview. Yeah, does that clear it up for you guys?
It does, thank you.
Why wouldn't it be, Julia?
It is crystal clear now, Julia.
They're great. I hope it just gives some insight on their relationship and how much fun those two have with their lockers being right next to each other. They're always goofing around in the outfield together. They just have a really good time and keep things light for the whole team. It's really great to watch.
And I liked your velociraptor or whatever it's called. That was good.
I didn't know that was going to make the air.
Jason Castro tops one over to Marte. They didn't know it was going to make the air, or you didn't know it was going to make it?
I didn't know. I thought that would be edited.
Oh,
what
okay.
What is that? No, take that off.
Yeah. Hey.
Center fielder.
That's my raptor impersonation.
Yeah, that's good stuff. With the short arms and everything.
Right.
Well done. Very well done. One out now, and that's 12 in a row set down by Iwakuma. Jake Marisnick's the batter. He hit a pop-up to second.
Was that Jurassic Park again?
No. They wait until Julia runs a feature, and then they change the walk-up music.
She used to have a lot of clout around here.
That's strike one to Marisnick. Corey Kluber came out for Cleveland with an injury, but Cleveland leads Detroit 5-4. They've played 7 now. 9 groundouts for Iwakuma. It's 1-1. The Indians still have not clinched the AL Central. They lead Detroit by 7, and the Red Sox have not clinched the AL East. They lead Toronto by 5.5. Ground ball wide of third. Takes the count to 1-2. All the other divisions have been locked up as far as the first place clubs are concerned. Started to mention that Mark Berman was inducted into the Houston Baseball Media Wall of Honor. We'd like to congratulate Mark. This is his 30th year at KRIV TV in Houston.
More scoops than anybody maybe in the nation.
That's his nickname, Scoops. Yep, he's a very good reporter. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's been sports director at KRIV TV since 1988.
If you plan a birthday party, he's going to know about it.
And he'll know who's flying into town to attend it. He has spent more time at the airport than any other reporter. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Sound at 11.
Certainly a well-deserved honor, though, for Mark. He grew up in Hempstead and graduated from the University of Houston with a degree in communications. Congratulations, Mark Berman. Fouled away, and there was a presentation on the field before the game. As well, the Astros minor league player of the year, Alex Bregman, got his presentation before the game today. Congratulations to Alex. And pitcher of the year, Brady Rogers. Nice when both of the guys who won those 2 minor league awards of the year were with the big league club at the time. That's a 1-out walk to Marisnick. And that's number 2 of the night for Iwakuma. We'll take a look back at Jeff Luhnow giving Bregman and Rogers their awards. Minor league player and pitcher of the year in the Astros system.
Had Alex Bregman been with the team a little longer, he would have been in the running for player of the year right here. He has played that well.
He truly has. And don't count him out for any remaining action. George Springer is 1 for 2. George singled in the first inning, struck out in the third. He tops that one foul. There's strike 1. The Astros have been successful in stealing against the Mariners. They have stolen 13 bases in 16 attempts this year. They've outscored the Mariners in the season series 68-57, and they've won 10 out of 16. They've done the little things better in head-to-head play. They have pitched slightly better. Throw to first, and Marisnick is a guy who can steal a base. He's 9 for 14. The Mariners have played more one-run games than any other team in the big leagues, 56 of them. They've split the 56, 28-28. The Astros have played 52. They're 28-24. Now Springer calls time, walks away. A little cat and mouse game here. It's Arizona 10, Washington 4 in the top of the 6th at Washington. Springer looks at a strike. That makes it 0-2 to George. The Nationals, having celebrated by clinching first place in their division, started Tanner Roark. He gave up 5 earned runs in 4 innings tonight. Another throw goes over. The Cubs are blasting the Pirates in Pittsburgh 12-0 after 7 as they shoot for their 100th win. Kyle Hendricks now has an ERA for the season of 1.99, Ash.
It's hard for me to believe that a guy can do that pitching half of his games in Wrigley, but they say Wrigley this year has had the wind blowing in, kind of the cool days, more than any of the hot days with the wind blowing out.
Springer swings and strikes out. That's number 5 for Iwakuma.
Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. Since 2013, most home runs versus any opponent. The most have come for the Astros against the Seattle Mariners. You know it's going to be in the American League West. That's where you play most of your games. The Angels, Texas, Oakland, and Baltimore. And you hope more come against Seattle and the Angels here this year.
The Mariners have allowed 207 home runs this year. The Astros have hit 196. So far tonight, 2 Houston singles, the only offense against Iwakuma, and a couple of walks. Marwin Gonzalez looks at strike 1. He is 0 for 2. He bounced into a double play and then he was thrown out trying to bunt his way on. Hendricks tonight went 6 innings, allowing 7 hits and no runs. Javier Baez hit his 14th homer. Chris Bryant, number 39. One away from making it another 40 home run club member. Fouled away by Marwin. No balls, 2 strikes. The Yankees have scored 3 in the top of the 9th and are still batting with 1 out and 2 men on, leading the Blue Jays 5-3. Luis Severino started for the Yankees. He went 1 inning. Jay Happ left with the lead, but will not get a decision now. Happ gave up 1 earned run in 7 1/3 innings. His ERA is 3.20. Apparently they had a beanball incident in that game with the Cubs. Jason Grilli gave it up tonight. 3 earned runs in 1/3 of an inning, as the Yankees have battled in the 9th inning to put that crooked number on him and his ERA. Marwin takes a close one. It's 1-2. Altuve on deck. Pitch counted 82 for Iwakuma. It's 5-4. The Indians leading at Detroit. They're in the top of the 8th inning now. The Astros would love to see the Indians finish that game the winners and hand Detroit its 73rd loss of the year. Line drive, right field corner. Marisnik's flying around second. Gary Pettis will send him home. Here's Marwin into second base, and there's a run to make it 2-1. RBI double. Marwin Gonzalez with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the inning. 49th run batted in, 26th double for Marwin Gonzalez.
That is timely, and if you're going to do it with a man on first base, not a bad idea with Jake Marisnik aboard. Jake started airing it out very quickly, and there was no thought of stopping him. Now, when you get a peek at Jake Marisnik and George Springer running the bases first to home like this, maybe as good as they come.
Marwin in scoring position now for Jose Altuve. Altuve's hitting .376 with runners in scoring position this season. 0 for 2 tonight. Lined out to Cano last time. Lines to left field for a hit. Here's Marwin being sent home, and the throw from Aoki is waiting And the tag by Zunino takes care of the third out. Well, the Astros had a shot at tying it. Altuve winding up with hit number 209, but then Aoki's throw came in on a bounce. Zunino was there, and the ball was there early for Zunino for the tag on Marwin. 2-1 Seattle. Inning right after our Texas Auto Diamond King. He's the big unit. And in 10 seasons with the Mariners, he had a 3.42 ERA. He was a 5-time All-Star with a Cy Young in '95. But then when he came to Houston in 11 games to complete the '98 season, he went 10-1, struck out 116, had a 1.28 ERA, and 4 complete game shutouts that year.
And he packed the Astrodome about every time he went out there, didn't he?
He did. It was magic because when he went out to warm up in the bullpen, the place started roaring in '98 on the way to that championship in the NL Central for the Astros. Colin McHugh gets strike one on Mike Zunino in a 2-1 game, leading off the 7th inning. Zunino's 0 for 2. James White and Tony Sipp are warming up for Houston with McHugh at 89 pitches. And that one's fouled away, 0-2. With the run, the Astros scored in the 6th inning now, making it a 1-run game. A.J. Hinch gets his bullpen hot. Marte is on deck. Aoki due up third. So it appears this is the last time through the order for Colin, but it may extend on through the 7th inning. And that would be a bonus. 1-2. Curveball. Goes for ball 2. It's 2-2. The episode apparently involving the Yankees and Blue Jays was why Luis Severino came out after 1 inning. He was thrown out of the game along with his manager Joe Girardi. Severino hit Josh Donaldson with a pitch in the 1st inning. He hit Justin Smoke with a pitch in the 2nd inning. And so Girardi and Severino were tossed. Earlier Jay Happ had thrown a pitch close to Chase Headley. And they have gotten into it. And there's a pop-up foul into the seats. So Happ hit Chase Headley. That's what we're hearing. Okay. Anyway, bad blood in Toronto, and it's 3-2 as they bat in the top of the 9th inning. But Yankees are really feisty tonight, and they have scored 5 times in the top of the 9th now. They take a 7-3 lead to the bottom half. Now Evan Scribner is warming up for Seattle. Pitch is high, and it's 3-2. Dellin Betances is in the game for the Yankees. The Yankees are 79 and 76.
Don't think anybody wants to get hit by any of that stuff.
No, sir. Iwakuma might be getting relief help in the bottom of the frame. Yankees 5.5 out in the wild card race now. That's foul back. But nonetheless, it was really an interesting September for them once they made the trades and got younger, and the young players just started lighting it up in the Bronx.
Of course, Gary Sanchez, the key cog there. What a job he's done behind the plate, and especially with the bat.
Zunino's down on strikes. Let's look back at more of the big unit.
You couldn't get enough. You certainly couldn't get too much. That slider, absolutely wicked, time and time again for the strikeout. Had the great fastball, but that slider was really the key pitch, the weapon that he would use. Brad Ausmus had to chase that one down. Randy Johnson just brought the baseball world in Houston alive.
Packed houses when he pitched, of course. There's ball one now to Ketel Marte. Marte has struck out and walked. 6 strikeouts now for Colin McHugh. The Indians lead at Detroit 6-4 in the top of the 8th at the moment. 2 balls and no strikes. Another strong performance by Colin. Last time out, he gave up 2 runs in 5 2/3, beating Oakland 6-5 on the road. Now it's 3 balls, no strikes, with Aoki on deck. $24,107 is the paid attendance tonight at Minute Maid Park. That's in for a strike, and that makes it 3-1. The Astros were over 2.2 million in home attendance coming into this game. Fastball fouled away, and now it's a full count on Marte. Marte has walked only 17 times. Colin McHugh falling behind 3-0, now coming right after it.
That attendance mark 8th in the American League among the 15 teams.
Thank you. I wondered where that ranked. Hadn't checked on that for a while.
Yeah, they've been kind of hanging in that range.
Curveball in the air. Tony Kemp in left field. 2 outs. Nice comeback after McHugh fell behind 3-0 in the count.
It comes back to do the polishing with the curveball on the 3-2.
Now at 104 pitches, he gets the ball back and turns his attention to Aoki, the leadoff man, is 0 for 3 with Hoyt and Sip still getting ready. If McHugh can get this man, it'll be Smith, Cano, and Cruz due up in the next inning. Ball 1.
Yeah, in fact, other than Cruz, it's a string of left-handed bats.
Nori Aoki, now 33 years old. He was born in Japan. Fouled away. 1-1. And through the years, the Mariners have been one of the teams that employs the most Japanese players. Of course, Ichiro Suzuki had a banner career for them. And they have that connection of being on the West Coast and close to Japan. That doesn't hurt. And they had Japanese ownership. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Adrian Johnson, the umpire at third, with the call. Punched on a line to left. Tony Kemp diving. It gets by him. And now we have extra bases. Aoki into second and still running. And now he puts on the brakes. 2-out double for Aoki.
Ever so close for Tony Kemp. It's kind of that Ichiro style of hitting right there, and watch how close Tony gets. You can understand why he took a shot at this, but when you do, you're exposed.
True.
Very well could have been the Ichiro stroke going the other way.
He put the bat on it. Made solid contact. Winds up with his 22nd double. That's hit number 6 for the Mariners. Seth Smith has struck out twice after drawing the first inning walk and scoring the run. strike one to Smith. He's probably watching his share of football with his football background. University of Mississippi, backup quarterback. Played for a couple of state championship teams in high school. He grew up in Mississippi. No balls, 2 strikes with Sip and Hoyt ready by now and staying hot. Cano's on deck. 2-1 game in the 7th. The Astros have Correa, Gaddis, and White due up in the bottom half. Curveball in the air. And Kemp ends it. No runs, a hit, a man left. We go to the last of the 7th inning. 2-1 Mariners.
Party with elegant spaces, high-end entertainment, and great pricing for every type of event at Minute Maid Park. Get a 50% room rental discount and a 10% food and beverage discount on select dates. Visit astros.com/party at the park or call 713-259-8800. Let's take it back 1 year, September 26, 2015. Astros Rangers playing against each other, and the Astros needed every win in order to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they did just that on this day. They beat the Rangers 9-7, but this is the day Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa went deep twice each. Pretty impressive stuff. I know a few of those came off of the lefty Derek Holland for the Rangers, but what a huge day for this team last year. What an organization to beat their rivals 9-7. That's one those guys won't forget.
And they love to see a lot more of it next year when they play Texas after being thrashed again this season. But yeah, those rare victories against the Rangers is something they would see not be so rare if they're going to be more successful next year, we would think. Ben Gamble is in the game in right field. Guillermo Heredia in left field. Evan Scribner is the pitcher for Seattle with a 2-1 lead.
In limited action, he hasn't had a whole lot of base runners against him, and right-hand hitters might as well not even take the bat to the plate.
Well, Carlos Correa is going to take one just in case.
I'm hoping so.
He's 1 for 2, a single to right center in the 2nd. Strike one for Scribner. Iwakuma in 6 innings. While the Astros, we've had 4 hits. The scoreboard says 3. And 1 run, 2 walks, 4 hits, and 5 strikeouts. No balls, 2 strikes. Scribner is 31. He's from New Milford, Connecticut. Went to Central Connecticut State. He faced the Astros in Seattle on September 17th. Worked a hitless inning. Will Harris is warming up for Houston. Scribner was with Oakland. He began his career with San Diego after being drafted by Arizona. It's 1-2. Evan Gattis on deck. Bottom of the 7th for Houston. The Astros trying to rally from behind. They have not had much going offensively. Correa fouls it. They did score in the 6th inning. Marisnick with a 1-out walk came around on the RBI double by Marwin Gonzalez, but Marwin was thrown out at the plate on the Altuve hit to end the inning. Iwakuma came out after 83 pitches, 55 strikes. It's rolled to shortstop. Marte, 1 out.
Greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. We're looking at divisional records among the clubs that are still contending for that wild card bid or bids. The Astros in division 39-31. The only negative there, obviously, the Rangers, the Blue Jays, second best in division. The Tigers just playing 500 ball in Seattle. As Brownie said earlier in the ball game, a game under 500 in the West. So among those clubs, the Astros have had the best success within their division.
Evan Gattis takes strike 1. He walked in the 2nd, grounded out in the 5th. Now, as you indicated, Scribner has been lights out lately. He's not allowed a run in his first 8 games with this club, covering 9 1/3 innings, walking 2, fanning 10. 1-1. He was placed on the 60-day disabled list earlier this year. His strained right latissimus dorsi muscle. Will Harris is there. Fastball fouled away, and it's 1-2.
I like the number 32.
Do you?
I do.
Famous number in sports, but why do you like it?
Oh, next home run for Evan Gattis is going to be number 32, but there are various reasons, I guess.
It's a nice number. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, that 30 home run mark, which he passed, is really a badge of honor for a home run hitter. Big plateau to reach. 3-2. Tyler White's on deck.
Yeah, if Evan Gattis could be healthy and have a strong start to a season, well, the numbers he could put up would be pretty eye-popping.
On the curve, Gattis is a strikeout victim. 2 outs. Scribner has the first 2. Now he faces Tyler White, who's 0 for 2, a strikeout looking and a ground out. This Mariner bullpen has 22 wins, 22 losses, and a 3.64 ERA. That's 6th in the American League. Oakland failed to score in the 1st at Anaheim against the Angels. Ball 1 to White. It's 1-1. Marlins still lead the Mets 7-2. They're now in the top of the 8th in Miami. Rangers are falling behind, and the Brewers lead them 8-3 now in the 7th. They've dropped further behind after a Milwaukee 3-run top of the 7th. Curve comes in for strike 2. White Sox lead the Rays 3-1. They're in the last of the 6th. The Reds are powering over the Cardinals 14-2. In the 7th. Foul back. Still 1-2. Bullpen for Seattle since September 7th, 2-0, 5 saves and 6 tries, a 1.68 ERA. White fouls the curveball into that Seattle Mariner dugout.
Got a bit of a hanger right there, kind of in that sweet spot for him.
That's a punch out to end the Astros 7th inning. A 1-2-3 frame for Scribner. Will Harris still working. The score still 2-1 Mariners after 7.
We go to the top of the 8th, and time to announce the winner of our Chevy Stro poll. Thanks for voting in our poll tonight and following us on Twitter at Root Sports SW. What's your favorite fantastic finish to an Astros season? This is to no surprise. 1986, Mike Scott throwing the no-hitter to clinch the division. What a great game. Ash, tell us all about it.
Well, the biggest thing I would tell you, Scotty was pitching so great at the time, but that final pitch, much like the Nolan Ryan no-hitter with a hanging curveball, this was a sinking fastball right through the heart of the plate. Will Clark was such a good and dangerous hitter, and Scotty and I both felt like that pitch was going to get crushed. It didn't. It was a ground ball out to end the game, and jubilation ensued.
Robinson Cano fouls the first pitch of the 8th inning from Will Harris. There's strike 1. Cano has a double, a homer, and a walk in this game. Colin McHugh had an excellent night. Cano is 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts against Will Harris. McHugh in 7 innings allowed the Mariners 6 hits, 2 runs, walking 2, fanning 6. Throwing 111 pitches, 70 strikes. Fouled away, and it's no balls and 2 strikes with Cruz and Seager to follow Cano in the Mariner 8th. Steve Cishek is warming up for them. In 11 games this month, Harris's ERA 0.84 with a batting average against him of 147. Blue Jays have scored twice in the bottom of the 9th. They now trail the Yankees 7-5. They have the bases loaded and 1 out. Curveball, and that is a strikeout of Cano.
That's something you won't say a whole lot of times. Strikeout of Cano.
Yeah. So Harris does well and now moves on to face Nelson Cruz. Cruz 0 for 3 with an RBI. Mariners got a run in the first, another in the third. Colin McHugh really battled. He left 2 base runners on in the 2nd inning. Mariners had runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out and didn't score. That's a shot into center field. Cruz is aboard with a 1-out single.
Will Harris fortunate that this ball didn't get a piece of him, and that piece would have been all bruised up shortly if it had gotten him.
Harris worked a scoreless inning yesterday.
Watch this shot.
Yep. Did well. That's hit number 7 for the Mariners. Seager got one of those hits in the 6th inning to right center field. He's 1 for 3. That's strike 1 to Harris. Harris has a career ERA of 0 against the Mariners for 16 2/3 innings. Six and a third innings of scoreless ball for Will against the M's this year. This one pops up in the air, and the runner gets to second base out of the mid of Castro. Cruz advancing on strike 2.
Watch the blocking game here, or lack thereof. Just a backhanded effort out of the dirt, and that'll cost you.
Cruz at second base. Adam Lind on deck. The count 0-2 on Seager. In the dirt.
There you go. There was a full-fledged effort to keep a ball in front, and well done. And this is what you should be seeing all the time, although ideally you would keep that glove down and fill up the 5-hole. Don't come up trying to catch the ball, but much better.
Altuve's out in shallow right field. Seager smokes one. It hits the umpire at second, Jim Wolf, and the ball is dead. There will be runners at first and third. Jim Wolf drilled by that line drive.
Jim Wolf is going to send Nelson Cruz to second base.
Yeah, they're going to bring him back.
So you hate giving up a hit, but this is a break for the Astros, because into right center field, that easily scores a run.
Originally, he pointed to first and third.
Yes, he did.
Well, Scott Service came out to see why Cruz has to go back to second. Certainly a break for the Astros, with Cruz unable to advance on the line drive that would have been in center field. But Wolf was unable to get out of the way of it.
Wolf is really manned up. He has not rubbed on that spot at all.
He got drilled. Seager really smoked that one.
2 line drives back up the middle here in the inning. I believe that's just simply a dead ball once it hits the umpire.
Yes.
Therefore, you can't advance.
That's right. The ball's dead. Adam Lind is 1 for 3. I don't remember seeing that for a long time, Ash. Do you?
No, I don't. And there are different rules based on if the umpire is in front of or behind the infielders.
That's right. The infielder has to be given a chance to field the ball, although clearly that ball would have been smoked into right center field.
Yeah, the only fielder that would have a shot to eventually get to this was Jake Marisnick.
Right. Let's say, for instance, the ball was a ground ball, and Altuve had a chance to field it, and Wolf was playing behind him. Then it hits Wolf. Well, then it stays in play if the fielder's already had a shot at it.
That is correct.
Roll to first base, a 2-hopper. And it's an out at first. Tyler White fielding it. Runners advancing to second and third.
It's like with a base runner. If the infield is, I'm trying to remember now. If a ball hits a base runner in front of the infielders, that base runner is out and it's a hit for the hitter.
Right.
But if that base runner is behind a drawn-in infield, then I believe it's a live baseball, is it not?
Yes. Well, Cruz does make it to third, but now Martin will be the batter, and Brent Strom comes out to talk it over with Will Harris. Now, clearly a break for the Astros, and now can they cash in on it? That Cruz had to remain at second on that line drive that hit the umpire Jim Wolf. The Blue Jays rallied, but they lost 7-5 Yankees in Toronto tonight. 5 runs in the top of the 9th for New York. But Toronto now is 86-70. And idle Baltimore is 85-71. Leonis Martin 1 for 3. Takes low, ball 1. Zunino on deck. A 1-game lead for Toronto over Baltimore. Those are the 2 teams currently leading in the 2 wild card spots. Foul back. The Orioles have the 2nd wild card spot, and they will be playing at Toronto Tuesday through Thursday, and then at the Yankees Friday through Sunday. Detroit is a game and a half behind the Orioles, playing tonight, and Detroit is trailing 7-4 in the bottom of the 9th to Cleveland, and the Tigers will be playing Atlanta over the weekend. Upstairs, Martin is knocked back. 2-1.
Ball's not that far inside, if at all, but it's a case of a hitter kind of moving toward the plate. Watch where this fastball winds up and where Castro's glove is, just maybe beyond the inside edge, but get that upper body kind of diving toward the plate and you're in trouble.
It's 2-2.
Brownie, you were talking attendance a little earlier in the ballgame. You know who the #1 drawing team in the American League is right now? It is the Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah, they've really caught that city by storm this year with that good club.
We saw that when we were there too.
Yep.
2-2 now with 2 outs and 2 on. Big pitch. And he checked his swing. It's a full count now. Bottom of the Houston lineup is due up in the last of the 8th inning. Kemp, Castro, Marisnick. He struck him out, and that keeps it at a 1-run lead. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left in scoring position. Seattle 2, Houston 1 in the 8th.
It's time to name that Astro. This is brought to you by your local Honda dealer. We gave you some clues earlier. The former first-round pick, he's still active, playing in the minors, and a position change. It's because I think he was a pitcher, then outfielder.
He was an outfielder with the Astros.
He played in Japan, too.
Yeah. He had a big pinch hit grand slam to win a game here against the Cubs in the bottom of the ninth a few years ago. Thanks, Julia.
Played with Julia's husband in Japan, I believe.
That is right.
Okay. Very good.
Oryx Buffaloes.
Steve Cishek is in the game with a 1-run lead. He's 25 of 32 in saves, but now a setup man. And in 5 games against Houston, 1-0, 3 saves, a 1.69 ERA.
Made life tough on the lefties, but really tough against the right-handers, so a tough assignment right now.
Tony Kemp will lead it off. He's 0 for 2. Evan Scribner had a 1-2-3 seventh with 2 strikeouts. Hisashi Iwakuma is in line for the win after 6 innings of 4-hit 1-run baseball, walking 2, fanning 5. Kemp 0 for 2, and it's ball 1 to Tony. Jason Castro's on deck. Jake Marisnick due up third. That's a final now. The Indians have knocked off the Tigers 7-4, and that will help the winner of this game. 2-0. Detroit is now 83 and 73. And that puts the Tigers 2 games behind Baltimore. So the Orioles idle tonight have gained. That's in for a strike, 2-1. Three balls and a strike. If the Astros can win this game, they will pull to within 2.5 of idle Baltimore. That's where Seattle is right now. In for a strike, and now it's a full count on Tony.
That's a confident guy at the plate, willing to take that second strike to get on base any way possible.
Cishek is 30 years old. Last year he pitched for Miami and St. Louis. Went to Carson Newman College in Tennessee. Fly ball left field, coming over toward the line. Heredia. And that's out number 1. So now we see it in the AL wild card. The Blue Jays 1 game ahead of the Orioles, and the Tigers are 2 behind the Orioles. The Mariners 2.5 back. The Astros 3. Up to the minute. Jason Castro is struck out and grounded out. A.J. Reed has come out to the on-deck circle with Marisnick due up next. Strike to Castro. You mentioned, and we saw those numbers, left-handed hitters hitting only .228 against Cishek with that drop-down delivery. He has done very well to limit the production of these left-handed hitters. 1-1. Right-handed hitters doing next to nothing against him at 167. Cishek was on the 15-day DL back in August with a left hip labrum tear, but he's come out of that very well. And the slider inside sends Castro out of the way for a 2-ball 1-strike count. Cishek converted his first 9 save chances, but now the Mariners have gone with a hard thrower who's working out very well. Edwin Diaz is their closer. Two and 2. Strike 3, and that's out number 2. 5 straight retired by the Mariners bullpen. A.J. Reed is the pinch hitter for Jake Marisnick. Marisnick was 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Reed brings a 175 average to the plate. He has 114 at bats, 3 homers, 8 runs batted in. Pinch hitting 1 for 6 with a pinch homer. And the Astros would certainly like to have him repeat that here with 2 outs and nobody on. George Springer on deck. Ball 1 to Reed, who's had very little playing time recently. He hasn't started a game since the Cubs were here September 10th. And for a strike, it's 1-1.
That pitch appeared to be away. Let's see what we're looking at. One's a ball and that one's a strike. They're on top of each other.
Okay. Here's the second baseman, Cano, a long way to go, and he throws to first to get him. We move to the 9th inning. It's 2-1 Seattle. These Astros fans hoping for a bottom of the 9th rally. They'll have Springer, Gonzalez, Altuve due up. But first of all, we have the top half with James Hoyt coming in. Teoscar Hernandez moving in to play center field. Hoyt is 1-1. His ERA 4.91. Ash.
Keeping it in the ballpark has been a bit of an issue for James Hoyt. 5 home runs allowed in the limited action. But boy, he had a really good year in the minor leagues, and there were some people very high on him.
29 years old. It's been such a story. No debate here for them. It's Springer for president. And George, of course, an impactful player out in right field. Who knows?
No debate needed for George.
There is not. Will Harris worked 1 inning, giving up 2 hits, no runs. He had a couple of strikeouts with no walks. Mike Zunino leads it off. Zunino's 0 for 3. Ketel Marte is on deck. Aoki due up third. I know he's out of the game now. That's Heredia now in left field. But Gamble is in the leadoff spot. He's the right fielder. That's ball 1. So this big assignment for Hoyt involves keeping it at a 1-run deficit. And the Astros will be facing Diaz in the bottom of the 9th inning. High fastball and a strike. 1-1. Cleveland Indians now have clinched the AL Central by beating Detroit tonight in Detroit 7-4. Nonetheless, that home field advantage in the American League remains undecided. 1-2, so it would be highly unlikely that Terry Francona would be resting his players for the remainder of that series. And most managers wouldn't do that in a pennant race against a contender anyway. Strikeout of Zunino, and Hoyt has a nice start to the ninth inning.
Hoyt known for his slider, and there it is. And you can see the nice tilt on that pitch is the terminology a lot of people will use today. Just biting downward.
Out number 1 for Hoyt. Now Marte. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. The Cleveland win is the Indians' 91st of the year. Boston and Texas have 92 wins. Boston is off tonight. Texas is trailing 8-3 after 8 to Milwaukee. So any one of those 3 teams could wind up with the home field advantage. It's certainly worth playing hard to the end of the season to get it.
Notice how pitchers don't get on top anymore. They just have really good tilt.
Yeah, terminology changes, doesn't it? 1 ball and 1 strike. You've got to be cool. You've got to use the cool language.
You've got to come up with something. Every decade has to have, I guess, at least a couple of terms that are brand new.
It's 2-1. James Hoyt said that what he had noticed from his first trip to the big leagues before going back to Fresno was that major league hitters don't swing as often. They take a little bit more on those close pitches, so he had to readjust his thinking when he came back from Fresno for his second stint. That's hit into right field past a diving White. A single by Marte. And Gamble will be the batter. Ben Gamble, a 158 hitter, has 1 homer, 4 runs batted in. He checked in right field defensively for Seth Smith. Gamble's had 38 major league at bats. Marte has 11 stolen bases. He's tried it 16 times. Gamble's around to bunt, but he fouls it. Looked like he was sacrificing, but with 1 out, that would be strange.
Quite.
Outside, and it's 1-1. Gamble hit his first RBI hit, first multi-walk game in his Mariners debut. That was September 2nd. But has spent the year in the International League, where he was the most valuable player of that league. Scored 80 runs to lead the league. Hit .308 in the International League this year. Runner goes, and it's fouled. 1-2. I think that might have been a missed sign when he was trying to sacrifice. What do you think?
Well, I can't imagine Scott Servais putting on the sacrifice. So, you know, you see a lot of guys forget how many outs there are. Could that happen to a guy standing at the plate? I guess.
Gamble does put it down, and Hoyt throws it away up the right field line. Springer will have to get to it. Maniac's going to send the runner to the plate. Here's Springer's throw to Castro, and he scores. 3-1 lead for Seattle. With Marte coming all the way around. The Astros on the Hoyt throwing error, unable to execute on the play.
I am very much a proponent of using the glove and hand when possible. Watch this play. It's a casual pickup with the bare hand, but you tend to palm ball it a lot of times. And there goes the throw down the right field line. And I think, well, it looked like he had it gripped with 2 fingers. But when you work in spring training, coaches will try to tell guys, use the glove so that you can get the ball properly to the right hand. Tough throw for for Jason Castro to handle that short hop from Springer.
Well, they go back to the sacrifice with 2 strikes, and it works for a run.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Now Guillermo Heredia is the batter. That is really unusual. Well, who could question something that turns out to be a scoring play?
Well, I would. To me, that's just fluky stuff, having a guy with, and I don't think it was put on by Scott Service. I think that Gamble chose to drop down a bunt there, but again, like you say, it works out, but it works out because baseball wasn't executed at all by the Astros.
Bunted it right back to the mound, too. Already takes a look at it. It's a sacrifice and an E1 on Hoyt, getting Marte around from first to home, and the sacrifice winds up getting Gamble to second. Already has hit .229 for 83 at bats. 1 homer, 10 runs batted in. Pitch is outside. It's 2-1. Robinson Cano is on deck. That's what hurts about being unable to execute that play, because now Cano will bat. Unless there's a double play here. A strike makes it 2-2.
Well, that's as shallow as you'll see the Astros outfield over the course of any season.
Swing and a miss, and Heredia is down on strikes. 2 outs. Tony Sepp has continued to throw and may come in to face Cano. Cano has a double, a homer, a walk. Okay, they'll go with the intentional walk and face Nelson Cruz. That's another way to do it. Cruz, is 1 for 4, will come up with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Well, they are celebrating. Cleveland is at Detroit after the 7-4 win. Puts the Tribe in the playoffs. Andrew Miller won that game in relief. He is 10-1. Cody Allen got his 30th save.
Robinson Cano just got a pitch that he might have, had he anticipated it all, might have stroked into left center field.
Yes, he might have. That pitch was hittable. A little too close to the plate for comfort for the Astros. Now Cano takes the intentional pass. And it's Nelson Cruz coming up. Cruz 1 for 4 with a first inning RBI on a ground out. J.D. Martinez hit his 22nd home run tonight for the losing Detroit Tigers. Buck Farmer took the loss for them. Corey Kluber left with an injury for Cleveland after 4 innings. That could really derail the Tribe in the playoffs. That's ball 1 to Cruz. He's a key man in the scheme of things for Terry Francona. Coco Crisp hit his 13th homer. Roberto Perez number 3. Seager's on deck. 9 hits now for Seattle, 4 for Houston. 8 men left on base for the Mariners, 2 for the Astros. The count runs to 2-0 on Cruz. Stylish.
I've seen you wear those on the road, never at home.
Nelson Cruz, 35 years old. He is a big-time slugger. Very consistent power hitter, too. 3-0 to Cruz. And of course, the green light is given to him, and he fouls the fastball. 3 balls, 1 strike to Cruz. Pretty standard in a situation like this to let the slugger slug.
When you already have the lead, you just go ahead and play for the big inning.
Now time's called, so the runner at first can tie his shoe. Robinson Cano. That's skied into foul territory. Tyler White's lost the ball. George Springer comes over. White now sprints over toward the stands, but it's out of play. Except for that guy.
Tyler White and A.J. Reed have had their issues with pop flies. I'm not sure why you would lose this one here.
Put his hands out, and then he seemed to locate it and took off. He's checking those lights now again. Proved to be not a catchable ball anyway. Cruz has a full count. Now Castro's going out. The runners will be moving on the pitch. Teoscar Hernandez is well over into right center field for this pitch.
I don't know what Castro says right there. This is the last pitch you're going to throw, so make it a good one.
Yeah.
Tony Sipp warming in the pen, and Seager waiting on deck.
Big one coming here for Hoyt. And he gets him on strikes. He was behind 3-0. He came back to strike out Cruz. 1 run scoring on 1 hit with 1 error and 2 men left. 2 up. The Astros down by 2 now. It's Springer, Gonzalez, and Altuve in the bottom of the 9th. Houston Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Toyota, let's go places. To the bottom of the 9th inning, it's now a 2-run lead for the Mariners, 3-1. They call on their hard-throwing young closer Edwin Diaz. Steve Cishek helps set it up in 1 inning of no-hit, no-run baseball. Diaz is 17 for 19 in saves. Ash.
Phenomenal stuff. 36 hits allowed in 47+ innings. He's kept the ball in the ballpark well, and 81 strikeouts in those 47 innings. So I mean that tells you that this stuff is exceptional and then some.
Batting average against him is just .203. George Springer's 1 for 3. Diaz got his 17th save last night at Minnesota yesterday afternoon. He had a 1-2-3 ninth with a strikeout. Marwin Gonzalez will bat second, then Jose Altuve, and it's strike 1. Evan Scribner had a 1-2-3 seventh. Steve Cishek did that same thing in the 8th. Springer out into center field, and that will loop in for a hit. There's a start for the Astros, and Springer's 2 for 4 in this game.
George has been swinging it very well. A lot of line drives mixed in right now, and watch him kind of, the front shoulder initially comes down, then kind of comes back up again, but just cut it off. Hands coming in close to the body and gets enough of the barrel to it.
Marwin Gonzalez doubled in the Astros run in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. 22-year-old Edwin Diaz from Puerto Rico with ball 1. Jose Altuve's on deck. Luis Valbuena took Diaz deep for a 9-8 win here July 6th. It's 2-0.
Bring the magic, Browning.
Well, Valbuena, of course, came up with a lot of big hits for this club. But Marwin Gonzalez has had some interesting late inning heroics himself. He would love to fall into that line. Two and 1.
We saw Valbuena during batting practice today, and he's getting in his workouts with the team. Said he feels quite good.
He had hamstring surgery. They removed a tendon, but he's come back very nicely. Foul straight back. Good cut by Marwin. It's 2-2.
He's getting his hacks.
Yeah.
And you see the 95-mile-an-hour type stuff. Great breaking ball to go with it.
We looked at scenes of Randy Johnson earlier. Randy Johnson had the previous club record for Seattle for getting 10 straight outs on strikeouts. Edwin Diaz broke that this year. He had 11 straight outs via strikeout.
That's amazing.
Line shot into right field. Springer heads for third. Marwin Gonzalez takes a big turn. He has a single, and at first and third with nobody out for Jose Altuve.
A nice start to the inning. Sure makes you quickly reflect on the top of this 9th inning. The Astros have found some magic against Diaz that others have not been able to come up with.
Meeting at the mound now. Catcher Mike Zunino and the pitcher Diaz. Robinson Cano came in.
So now Marwin represents the tying run.
Jose Altuve singled in the 6th inning. Hit a hot liner caught by Cano at second in the 4th. Hit the ball pretty well to center field in the 1st. 1 for 3 tonight. Carlos Correa's on deck. Altuve, as the ball is fouled. Ball That's behind 0-1. MVP is the chant. 24,107 to pay in attendance. And this opportunity is energizing the people in the ballpark. Altuve fouls it. That's behind 0-2.
To 98. He's rushing it up there.
Altuve grounds to third. Here's Seager to second, and Cano to first. Safe at first, and the run scores. It's 3-2 Seattle. Altuve gets an RBI, his 95th.
Well, you got to hustle this out. Seattle with Cano making the turn at second. You know it's going to be quick and strong, even though it's very casual.
The footwork was sound by Cano.
Look at him dig. And that is what an MVP should do. And exceptional work by Altuve to not enable the double play.
Carlos Correa's 1 for 3. That's strike one.
Carlos has got one thing on his mind right now, and he should.
Altuve just took over the club RBI lead with one more than Correa. He's drawing some attention. He is 27 for 37 in stolen bases. In September, he has 1 steal in 4 attempts. He's going. Zunino's throw, not in time. Big stolen base, number 28.
Well, Diaz has enough of a leg kick, and with that, it enabled Altuve to steal the bag. And you can see those power pitchers like that, generally speaking, are not going to be the quickest to the plate. That tag of Cano slapped right down on the helmet, I believe, of Altuve, and Cano saying, "You all right?"
1-1. It's 2 balls and a strike to Correa. Correa has hit .290 with runners in scoring position. He's had 169 at-bats with men in scoring position. Fine shot into left center field. That's going to tie it at 3. Altuve to the plate, and Correa has come through.
Yeah, the big boys coming through. That stolen base proves really big. Carlos got a pitch to handle, and he handled it very well.
The legs of Altuve are a factor.
Yep. Without question.
Altuve got his 95th run batted in. Correa got his 95th. And now it's a 3-3 game with this rally in the 9th inning. Evan Gattis is the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach, went out to talk with Diaz. Altuve scored for the 105th time. 3 hits in the inning. Springer single, Gonzalez single. Altuve bounced into a force play. And now Correa has singled. Gattis looks hit ball 1. The Astros have won 18 times in their final at bat. Gattis looks at ball 2. Tyler White on deck. Only the 3rd blown save for Diaz in 20 attempts. Correa draws some attention. Carlos with 13 steals in 16 attempts. Has run effectively. Gattis looks at ball. Nope. Strike 1. 2-1. The Mariners have played 57 one-run games. The Astros have played 52, and they're tied in the 9th. Strike 2, and it's 2-2.
Right on the edge. And the previous pitch was a breaking ball that really didn't break, but found the inside portion.
Ball 3, and Zunino really had to reach out and snag that one, or it would have cost them a base runner in scoring position.
Now that's just overthrowing it. That's a classic case. That is a fine job by Zunino.
Now does Correa run on the pitch? He does. Shot, foul. Oh, Seager almost caught that ball.
Seattle playing wisely near the line, trying to cut down on the possible doubles. Single's not going to beat you. A double with Correa on the move. The Astros would pick up a W right there. Assuming the ball gets all the way down into the corner.
A.J. Hinch's club not willing to quit after giving up the unearned run in the top of the 9th. Now trying to win it in the bottom half. Correa takes off. Ground ball foul. Two-base steal of second. A big key in the inning. Now Correa's been on the move, so he could potentially score on a double by Gattis if the ball is hit. Correa moving, and a ground ball goes into left field. Correa's going to keep moving on to third base, and the Astros have the potential winning run 90 feet away on the single by Gattis with their 4th hit of the inning.
That's tremendous work on a couple of fronts. Evan Gattis got a tough slider down and away and found a way to not only get a piece of it, but shoot it through the left side with Correa on the move. He had to get to third base and somehow able to get there. But you see where that pitch was. Evan Gattis, great extension. And that difference from having Correa at second versus at third, enormous right now.
Now the infielders come in. 1 out. Runners at first and third. Tyler White, the batter. He's 0 for 3. There is strike 1, and the outfielders as well have come in.
That early fastball is one you want to get a good hack on, and surprised Tyler allowed that to get by.
There's a lot of room in left center field. Oh, 2. Tony Kemp is on deck. When Diaz has given up 4 hits to the 5 batters he's faced. The batting average against him for the season was .203. In for a ball, and it's 1-2. Well, that looked close.
No kidding. I don't know how you take that. I mean, we saw what Evan Gattis did there with 2 strikes on him. just offering out of the strike zone. This one could have been called a strike.
Yes, it could have.
He just cannot take that.
And a strikeout. 2 outs now.
And I'll go back to the first strike, that first fastball up in the strike zone. That's kind of the cookie when you get it, and just don't want to let it get by.
Tony Kemp will come up. Kemp is 6 for 20 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 3 tonight. Jason Castro on deck. Now the infielders drop back, as do the outfielders. 2 outs, and this foul pop will head for the seats. Out of play, strike 1. A thriller in Houston as the Mariners and the Astros, only a half game apart in the standings, are really trying to win a big one and stay in this wild card situation. Kemp fouls it, and it's 0-2.
Well, he got a pitch to handle. If you want to call 98 in the strike zone something to handle, but
Zunino out to talk with young Edwin Diaz. Mariners as a team this year have 46 saves in 70 opportunities. That's 25 blown saves, including this one tonight. One and 2. Springer started it with a single. Gonzalez singled. Altuve bounced into a forced play with a run scoring. Came home on a Correa single. Soft pop-up. Adam Lind in foul territory ends it in the 9th. The Astros tying the game, and they'll be playing their 18th extra inning game of the year. It's 3-3 through 9. Extra innings are brought to you by Jack Link's beef jerky all season long. Jack Link's, feed your wild side. And now more extra innings, and these fans have seen a lot of this year. The Astros have played 17 extra inning games. They're 10-7. And Seattle has played 15. They're 8-7. Ken Giles, the Houston closer, comes in for the 10th. He's 2-5 with 14 saves and 19 opportunities.
with these closers coming in, we're finding the guys that just strike out a ton. And for Giles, 99 punch outs in 64 innings. So the next one he strikes out, the 100th on the year.
That's a big number for a reliever.
Sure is.
All documented there. Scorebook and everything. We go to the 10th with Seager leading it off. Kyle 2 for 4 in this game.
That looked nothing at all like my scorekeeping.
Too neat for us. 9 hits for the Mariners, 8 for the Astros. 10 men left for Seattle, and there's strike one. The 9th inning run was unearned. James Hoyt in 1 inning, allowing 1 hit, 1 run, no earned runs, walking 1, fanning 3. Altuve's out in right field. Seager swings. No balls, 2 strikes. Drew Storen is warming up for Seattle. The Astros will have Castro, Hernandez, and Springer due up in the bottom of the 10th. Strikeout. And Giles opens with a K here in the 10th inning.
3 sliders, no question mark, and still can't hit it. And that's getting on top, or tilting it well.
Twelve strikeouts for Houston pitching tonight. Adam Lind singled in the 2nd. He's 1 for 4. Giles worked a scoreless 9th inning yesterday, getting his 14th save. Worked around a leadoff walk and fanned a couple. So now at 100 Ks for the season. There's ball 1. Like we have him at 99 strikeouts for the year. He's 2-0.
Well, somebody's wrong here.
Yeah. No, the stat sheet says 99.
Okay, well, Baseball Reference, maybe they were just anticipating well.
Maybe they had an official scoring change.
Ah, I wonder. That was not a strikeout of my client.
3 balls and no strikes. Giles is 3rd among the American League relievers in strikeouts, and he's averaging 13.85 punch-outs per 9 innings. Lind looks at a strike, and it's 3-1 to Adam Lind. Leonis Martin is on deck. Batting average against Giles is .234. That's a walk to Lind. 4th walk for Astros pitching.
This should bring out a pinch runner, I would think.
Looks like you have that one nailed. O'Malley's in the game. Martin 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts against Giles. Sean O'Malley takes over there for Lind. Martin is 1 for 4. Chop past the mound. Here's Altuve coming in. Quick throw to first, safe. And the Mariners have runners at 1st and 2nd with 1 out on the infield hit by Martin.
When Altuve comes after this ball, could he have run in to the base runner? I think he could have. And if he had, that would be obstruction on the base runner's part.
Yeah.
Just keep coming at that ball. Of course, it's not going to be a comfortable collision.
No. Mike Zunino is 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Jake Marisnik made a good play on him in center field. Slider works for strike 1. Ketel Marte, the number 9 hitter's on deck. 3-10-0 for the Mariners with 10 left. 3-8-1 for the Astros with 4 left. Fastball rides into the strike zone, and it's 0-2. It's been McHugh for 7, Harris, Hoyt, and now Giles for the Astros. Iwakuma for 6, Scribner, Cishek, and Diaz for the Mariners. Zunino is down on strikes. That's 2 outs. Ketel Marte is next. The K's are piling up.
And again, that slider picks it up.
13 of them for Houston pitching tonight. Marte singled and scored that unearned run in the 9th. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. Oscar Hernandez shading him well to left center. Ball 1. The Angels won, Oakland nothing. They're in the middle of the 5th in Anaheim. Swing there, gets a strike, and Marte has a 1-1 count.
Let's see, what uniform does that represent? What city?
Mike Trout hit a solo homer for the Angels run tonight in the 4th inning. Continuing his magnificent season. He's at 29 now.
Yeah, he's not going to get the 41 he had a year ago, but 30 would be a big number, I would imagine, for him.
Yeah, he's at 98 runs batted in right now. 2 balls and a strike for Marte. Jared Weaver started tonight for the Angels. Line drive left field line. Tony Kemp over. It's a foul ball. 2-2 now. Sean Manaea is pitching tonight for Oakland. Sonny Gray is due to make 1 start here at the end of the season for them. Coming off a long stay on the disabled list.
Got a lot of people at the start of the year picked him for the Cy Young.
Yeah.
And nowhere close.
2-2 to Ketel Marte. Mariners are 1 for 13 with men in scoring position. And make it 1 for 14 on the strikeout to end the top of the 10th inning. Giles gets 3 strikeouts. Now the Astros try to win it in their final at bat in the 10th. It's Castro. And then Teoscar Hernandez and Springer due up in the bottom half. Robinson Cano hit home run number 34 in the third inning. It was 2-0 Seattle. The Astros, though, fighting back as they often have. Get a sixth-inning RBI double by Marwin Gonzalez. Cut that lead to 2-1. Then Jose Altuve in the ninth bounces into a force play. George Springer scoring, and it's 3-2 Seattle. Carlos Correa ties it with a single to left center field. Altuve, who had stolen second, scored. That tied it at 3. And we see 3 runs, 10 hits, no errors for Seattle. 3-8-1 for Houston. Cano with a big night. Edwin Diaz, though, had his third blown save, giving up 4 hits and 2 runs in 1 inning. Jose Altuve tonight has 1 hit, 1 RBI, 1 run scored. Colin McHugh with a good start, 2 runs allowed in 7. And it's tied as Seattle is 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. 3-3, bottom of the 10th inning. We have changes for the Mariners. Dae-Ho Lee is at first. Drew Storen is on the mound. Ash.
So a right-hander on to face the left-handed bat of Castro to start the inning. And Storen has been a workhorse this year. Left-hand hitters hitting almost 3 1/4 against him. Even the right-handers up about the league average. So maybe a great shot here in the 10th inning to get something started.
Storen came in the Joaquin Benoit trade from Toronto. Jason Castro is the batter. He's 0 for 3. Luke Gregerson is warming up for Houston. Storen with that hesitation delivers ball 1. With the Mariners, Storen is 2-0 with a 3.94 ERA in 15 games. He has spent time on the disabled list with right shoulder inflammation. Former closer at Washington, and he falls behind 2-0. Drew is 29 years old. First round pick by the Nationals in 09. He was the 10th player drafted. In 2011, he had 43 saves for them and 48 chances. Now Castro has worked the count to 3-0. Storen has pitched scoreless baseball in 11 of his last 14 games. (3-1) now.
Do you take a big swing right here, or do you take trying to get somebody on base? The Astros really don't have anybody other than maybe Teoscar Hernandez to bring on as a pinch runner right here.
Yeah, he's in the on-deck circle, so that rules him out for that.
Going to make that a tough move, isn't it?
Yeah. Castro with Cano out in right field is out number 1. Colby Rasmus is no longer on that bench. He's on his way to see a doctor. Now Teoscar Hernandez, who's played well, recently has gone into a nosedive in batting average, 209, 4 homers, 9 runs batted in. So the numbers don't look like much, but he's had some good games for this club. He looks at a slider, and it's strike 1. George Springer's on deck. That sinks out of the zone, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Teoscar has started 11 games in left field, 10 in center, and 3 in right. Fouls that one, and he's behind in the count, 1-2.
What does Storen do with this stretch move when he's got a man on base? There's no way he can go after this kind of a delivery.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Sounds like a plan. Two.
Wonder what they're trying to do with Teoscar.
Gee, they must not be wanting to come over the plate or inside on him. Up the middle. Cano backhands, throws, and in the dirt it's dug out by A T HOU.
Just get dazzled by Cano time and time again. Obviously, offensively, he's one of the game's elites. But defensively, he's got such a unique set of tools. With that submarine kind of throw of his, he can throw going any direction and get the job done. Very strong arm. Nice job by defensive replacement, A T HOU.
Well, just in the game, and he makes a nice play. George Springer, 2 for 4. Oh, a hanger, strike 1.
Hang me a slider.
Yeah, they wanted that to leave. Storen went to Stanford. He was born in Brownsburg, Indiana. Off the plate, and it's 1-1. Diamondbacks ripped the Nationals 14-4 in Washington. The Cubs set down the Pirates 12-2. Now Hendricks going to 16-8 with a 1.99 ERA. Chop foul. Is that good enough to win a Cy Young for you? 16-8 with a 199.
Well, when you're that much better than the rest of the league in the ERA, you're sure going to get some strong consideration. Yeah, I think he's going to get it.
Two and 2 to George. Full count to Springer. Marlon Gonzalez is on deck.
George appears to be seeing it well right here.
Well, he won a game in the 11th inning here against Arizona with a home run, June 1st. And then he had another game winner in the 11th inning with an RBI single against Cincinnati, June 18th. Storen throws him out. We move to the 11th inning, and it's 3-3. Brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's, feed your wild side. This game moves on. It's 3-3. We go to the top of the 11th inning. Luke Gregerson will be pitcher number 5 for A.J. Hinch. Ken Giles in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, no runs, had a walk and struck out 3. Gregerson's 15 for 20 in saves. He has a 3.18 ERA.
We've had some guys coming in that have had some really stellar numbers. Take, for instance, right-hand hitters hitting just 151 against Luke. The lefties are getting abused as that goes.
Ben Gamel leads it off.
The man who with 1 out and 2 strikes lays down a bunt.
But still hard to believe. And it worked out for a run. There's ball 1. That was in the 9th inning. Because of the error by James Hoyt, the run was unearned.
Turned out to be a killer run.
Yeah. In a 3-3 game in the 11th. Marwin Gonzalez camps in tight at third. Gregerson throws and it's a strike. 1-1. Gregerson gave up 2 hits and a run in the series with the Angels 2 days ago. Came in with a 4-2 lead in the 8th inning. And he inherited a couple of runners who scored. One on an RBI single by Mike Trout. The other an RBI single by Albert Pujols. Back-to-back Saturday night. And the Astros, who went into that 8th inning leading 4-1, wound up losing it 10-4. That's a swing. Gamble is thrown out by Castro to White for out number 1.
We were talking about strikeouts and the propensity for hitters today to strike out. 15 punch outs for the Astros staff, and these bullpens again, just it's such a dominant set of arms that come in.
It's hard to put together a rally with 4 hits against a bullpen. Guillermo Heredia struck out earlier in the 9th inning in his first at bat. He had been in the game in left field. He takes a strike. You saw those numbers. You mentioned them. Gregerson's so effective against right-handed batters this year, Ash.
Sometimes I think fans only remember some of the rough games, and there haven't been many.
Nick Vincent's warming up for the Mariners now. That is a strikeout. A banner night for the Astros in the strikeout department.
Well, this slider, when it's on, not the same kind of velocity of Ken Giles, but just as devastating on the hitters.
16 strikeouts for the Astros staff. Now here's Cano. He has a double, a homer, and 2 walks. He's 5 for 12 against Gregerson. That's strike 1 for Luke. Nelson Cruz is on deck. Gregerson, as you know, opened the season as the Astros closer. That's a close one.
Yes, it is. I would suggest that's not low. Yeah.
It's like a really good pitch on that.
Boy, it makes it tough for a pitcher when you're making the key the pitch you're trying to make, and you can't get the call.
Yes, it does. Chop foul, 1-2. The Astros have used 3 different closers during this season. Ken Giles and Will Harris, along with Gregerson. And it's been an unusual year because all of them have also served as setup men effectively in addition to closing. right field, and that's going to give Seattle a lead. A no-doubter by Robinson Cano. His 7th home run against the Astros, make it his 8th of the year, 2 tonight. He has 22 runs batted in against Houston pitching, and it's Seattle 4, Houston 3 in the 11th.
That's the danger with the slider on a power-hitting left-hand hitter. It's working toward that inner portion of the plate. And Cano got every bit of this one. Watch as this slider finds its way back toward the inner third. And the only question here, would it stay fair? And stayed fair by plenty.
That's 35 home runs for Cano. Up the middle, Nelson Cruz adds a single, his 2nd hit of the game. And the key here to hold the deficit now at 1, now that the Mariners have grabbed the lead, because Seager's coming up. The Astros are going to have a shot at rallying against the Seattle pen in the bottom half. That's the 19th career multi-home run game for Cano. Robinson with 94 runs batted in now. Cruz takes off with a big jump. The Astros don't make a play on him, and that's a strike to Seager. Stolen base for Cruz. That is his first attempt all season long. Seager 5 for 13 lifetime against Gregerson. Now they'll put Seager on after the steal and work the AT HOU lead. It'll be right-hander against right-hander. Lead will be coming up for the first time in this game. Adam Lind had been in this spot but left for the pinch runner O'Malley, and Lee went into this spot. That's 12 hits now for the Mariners. They've also stranded 12 runners. The Astros will have Gonzalez, Altuve, Correa due up in the bottom of the inning. If Gregerson could keep this deficit at 1 run, they have a pretty good shot at least tying the game. The lead at 253 with 14 homers has 49 runs batted in. He's had 288 at bats. He's done well as a pinch hitter. This is not a pinch hit at bat, but he's 7 for 23 when he gets an at bat off the bench. Check swing roller to Tyler White. And the Robinson Cano homer, a real bomb, gives Seattle the lead. He might be a Superman himself, but the Astros fans are hoping Marwin Gonzalez can be one. 4-3 Seattle in the 11th. Home run of the night has the Mariners in a good position. They lead it 4-3. The Astros will be coming up at the bottom of the 11th inning against pitcher number 6 for Scott Service. He is right-hander Nick Vincent. 29 years old from Poway, California. He went to Cal State Long Beach. 4-4 with a 1.08 whip, and the Astros have not scored a run off him in 4 games, Ash.
Yeah, I was going to say, the good news is the Astros have seen him plenty to be ready, but they haven't found a way to score against him yet. And here in the month, ERA at 2.61. Maybe ripe for the picking. That opponent's batting average in the month, 194.
Vincent has 2 saves this season. Marwin Gonzalez, who had a key 9th inning single, is 2 for 4 with an RBI. He leads it off. Jose Altuve is due up next, and then Carlos Correa. Gonzalez had the RBI double in the 6th, a single in the 9th, so hits his last 2 at bats for Marwin. Towering pop. Kyle Seager underneath it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Vincent. Drew Storen in 1 inning, allowed no hits, no runs, had 3 ground ball outs. Jose Altuve is 1 for 4 tonight with an RBI and a run scored. He has a stolen base. Altuve is 1 for 3 against Vincent. Vincent was drafted by San Diego in 08 in the 18th round. Seattle got him in a trade at the end of March this year for a player to be named later. He pitched 63 times last year for San Diego with 20 holds. Altuve fouls back the high fastball.
Power hack right there by Jose.
Slider evens the count at 1-1. Vincent has not allowed any runs in 9 of his last 11 games. He spent some time on the disabled list with a mid-back strain in August. Fastball at 88 makes it strike 2.
You won't see that kind of velocity slip by Jose very often.
No. Vincent got a win in his Mariners debut at Texas, April 5th. The liner into center field, second hit of the night for Altuve. And he now has 210 hits. Take over the American League lead.
Well, he's picked up a stolen base tonight, Brownie. Is he back into the running mode, maybe? Because the Astros sure could use a man in scoring position. He's had some good swings. His first 2 at bats tonight as he made outs were real good looking swings, hitting the ball hard.
He will be watched carefully. Carlos Correa is 1 for 3 against Vincent. He had the key tying single in the 9th inning. He's 2 for 4, and there's the throw to first. Altuve's steal was his 28th of the year back in the 9th inning, and then he wound up scoring the tying run on the Correa single. They would love to duplicate that here. Evan Gattis on deck. Big cut, and there's strike 1.
Boy, the effects of the Vincent fastball right now are like it's 10 miles an hour faster than the numbers say.
Yeah. Maybe the fatigue factor is part of it. And part of the hitters. Correa fouls it. No balls, 2 strikes. Altuve with the 2 hits tonight, now moving to 210 hits this season, is 1 in front of Mookie Betts, with Boston being idle tonight. And it'll be a duel between those 2. No one else is close to see who leads the league in hits. Correa bounces one, and that's into right field. Altuve will slide and get back to second. And it's first and second, one out.
Love his style.
Yes.
He was around second base with every intent to get to third, and then realized it was just too much of a risk and got back. But man, that's the way you play the game. And how about Carlos Correa and his ability to find holes when you need one?
Correa has 3 hits. Yeah, that's a Ken Caminetti type slide. Remember when Cammy used to do that, to stop quickly and get back to the last base?
Cammy nowhere near as fast as Altuve, but that same mentality.
That's the fastest way to reverse direction. You need to get back quickly. Now 2 men on, 1 out. Evan Gattis, 1 for 3 with a walk. A chance to be a hero here. Tyler White's on deck. 10 hits for the Astros now. Strike 1 to Gattis. He too is late on the 89-mile-per-hour heater. Must be some deception there from Mr. Vincent. Even though Vincent was not allowed a run to Houston, he did get a blown save and a win. 0-2. Came in with a couple of men on base and allowed one of those runners to score in the 7th inning of the game.
Boy, right there.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, I bet you Evan is saying the same thing to himself. How do you miss that?
Yuli Gurriel is on deck now instead of Tyler White. Foul back. Gattis protecting.
Yeah, there's something visual going on with Vincent's fastball, because velocity says it's nowhere near fast enough to be getting by these bats.
They meet at the mound with Vincent, who got his most recent save, number 2 of the year, August 11th against Detroit. And a strikeout takes care of out number 2 for Vincent. Now Gurriel is the pinch hitter for White.
And again at 89, again up in the strike zone, and somehow slips by. And wow is right. How do you explain that to yourself?
Gurriel has been in a slump. Has played in a long string of games. Appeared to be feeling the effects of that kind of scheduling, which he had not been used to in Cuba. And he had hit 148 on the last road trip, going 4 for 27. Then he followed that up by going 2 for 17 in the Angels series. He is 0 for his last 5 and trying to deliver a big hit off the bench here. 261, 3 homers, 15 runs batted in for the Cuban. Gurriel is 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter. He looks at a strike. It's been a battle tonight. The Astros getting 2 in the bottom of the 9th to tie it. And now trying to rally from behind again here in the 11th. Foul back by Gurriel. Now it's 0-2. Tony Kemp's on deck. Seattle has 12 hits to Houston's 10. The Mariners have stranded 14 runners to Houston's 4. They took the lead in the first inning, and the Astros have trying to play catch up all night. They finally did it in the 9th, but now here in the 11th, they're down to their last out and their last strike. It's 1-2. Orioles hit .346 with men in scoring position. Now 2-2. Fly ball out to left field. Heredia coming in. The shortstop is calling for it, called off it, and it's caught by Heredia to win this one. Seattle does it on 2 Robinson Cano home runs, taking it in 11 innings, 4-3. The Mariners now go to 83 and 73, while the Astros, with this difficult loss, have an 82 and 75 record. The Astros fall to 3.5 behind Baltimore now in the wild card race. It's the Mariners 4, the Astros 3 and 11.